Welcome to the Metrodome for the home opener of the new-look Minnesota Vikings as they host the NFC Central Division leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, both of these squads share very similar objectives. The Vikings, after dropping to 1-1 with their loss to the Detroit Lions last week, are anxious to get back on the winning track and offset a recent past of underachievement. The Buccaneers, on the other hand, are sports losing this franchise in the past decade, but at 2-0, they're anxious to show everyone they are the new Buccaneers. My partner is ex-Washington Redskins lineman George Stark. And George, what are the keys for success for the Vikings today?
Well, last week against Detroit, the Minnesota offense was stymied by a lot of drop passes and penalties. Drop passes and penalties, of course, kill your offensive continuity. They've got to put that behind them. On defense, the defensive backs want to give Vinny Testaverde a lot of different looks, confuse him, make him think, give Chris Dolman and company time to get to him.
Tampa Bay, on the other hand, is 0-14 on the road. As a matter of fact, can Sam Wyche come up with any magic to make them successful?
Well, on defense, Sam Wyche needs a big day from his two rookie interior defensive linemen, Santana Dotson and Mark Wheeler. On offense, they need to get the running game going to take the pressure off Vinny Testaverde so he doesn't have to win the game today exclusively in the air.
And we're underway here. Minnesota won the coin toss. You saw Darren Nelson retrieving it. First home game of the season for the Minnesota Vikings. And there was a flag on the kickoff. Bob McElwee, the referee. So the Vikes decline it, and we get underway. Rich Gannon at the helm for the Vikes. First and 10, Minnesota. On the ground, this is Terry Allen, and Allen ahead for maybe one. Will bring up a 2nd and 9. And as I mentioned, Rich Gannon, the 60-year quarterback out of Delaware, rattled a little last week by Detroit, looking to get off to a much better start today, keeping the ball on the ground. And he's got a big offensive line, especially the left side of that line.
Left side, Zimmerman and McDaniel, the powerhouse side of this Minnesota offensive line. You saw the first play go that way.
Terry Allen, the featured back, the wide receivers. A lot of problem with drop balls last week.
They hope to solve that problem this week, that's for sure.
2nd and 9. On the ground again, Terry Allen ahead for maybe about 3. And this has been a very impressive Tampa defense. 3rd in the NFL, leading the NFC. Santana Dotson, a rookie who already has 4 sacks to his credit. And a defensive line led by, again, Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson will probably be the fellow that they attack. They want to get him on the defense early today.
Linebacking corps, Broderick Thomas, no sacks thus far.
Broderick Thomas, no sacks. He's been very quiet.
And the secondary, anchor Darrell Fullington making his return back to the Metrodome where he played for the Vikings. On 3rd and 6, Gannon to pass. And Gannon looks to have it complete to Hassan Jones for the first down. Hassan Jones, 7th-year wide receiver out of Florida State, nicknamed Palmala because of those soft hands. That was a 19-yard pass play.
Nice big play, and Rich Gannon, he's the kind of quarterback that needs to settle down to get confidence in his game early. That pass completion may go a long way to getting his offense under him off the ground today.
Hassan has a long of 20 yards to his credit thus far. That was a 19-yard. 2 tight end formation. Dante Whitaker and Steve Jordan on 1st and 10 in Tampa territory. The handoff to Chris Carter. And Chris Carter roped and dropped by Broderick Thomas, a gain of only 1. Broderick Thomas, we expect to see a very active linebacker in him today because he doesn't have any sacks.
Well, Broderick, of course, will be looking to get his name in lights today. We saw Minnesota in practice running a lot of counters and reverses. I think their thinking on that is when you have a young team that's going to pursue as well as Tampa's defense will, you want to give them a lot of misdirection.
You heard George mention that Broderick Thomas has been awfully quiet, and he normally is a very talkative young man on the field. 2nd and 9, ball at the 41 of Tampa. Play action. And Gannon under heat from Keith McCants was throwing in the direction of Steve Jordan. And Denny Green certainly recognized that Rich Gannon was rattled last week early and wanted to try and settle him down. How this week, George?
Well, I thought they'd start out on the ground, and if he had to pass the ball, nice 5-yard in the flat type passes. Build his confidence, make him feel that today could be his day, get a little, 4 or 5 little short ones, but he started out with a 19-yard completion, so he should be settled down.
Hassan Jones to the far side, Anthony Carter to the near side. 3rd and 9. Allen, the lone back. Gannon drills it complete to Steve Jordan, and forward progress should be enough for the first down. Steve Jordan, 11th year tight end out of Brown, the man they call Ivy, and he certainly has a good set of hands.
They call him Ivy, and he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Let's take a look at Zimmerman. He's on McCants. He's on the left side of your screen. Blocks well, hands up. Good foot movement by the left tackle. It all starts with the feet. Rode McCants right to the outside.
There was an awful lot of body English, if you will, on the part of McCants, but Zimmerman, showing that good technique, just stayed and held his ground.
Well, it's just like basketball, JG. You let the guy fake all he wants. You keep your eye on his belly button. Don't look at all the arm fakes and foot fakes.
Well, George, I mentioned that it looked like the forward progress of Steve Jordan was enough for the first down, but the spot winds up about 4 inches short. So it will bring up a 4th and inches situation. And the Vikings, this will be their first attempt to convert on 4th down. 3 tight ends, Jordan, Dante Whitaker, and Brent Novoselsky. The I formation, and Gannon keeps it, and he has enough. We've mentioned already last week, certainly we did in the Lions game and here, that Rich Gannon is a converted running back.
Well, Rich Gannon was drafted by the New England Patriots as a running back. He's kind of a self-taught quarterback. He had to teach himself how to pass, which is one reason the confidence builder thing is very important in this first series.
Rich Gannon going against a Floyd Peters defense that he saw so often in practice. Says he's very comfortable going against it. 1st and 10 from the 31 of Tampa. Just underway, no score, 11-10 left in the first quarter of play. Allen. And Allen runs into an aggressive horde of white shirts, a gain of only 1. Mark Wheeler, the rookie out of Texas A&M, leading the Bucs charge.
JB, we spoke that Sam Weiss needs a big game out of Mark Wheeler. He got a big play right there. Randall McDaniel had knocked Santana Dotson out there. Sam Weiss hoping to change that 14-game losing streak on the road.
Matter of fact, the last Tampa Bay victory on the road came right here in the Metrodome 2 years ago. A boot. Gannon going downtown for Chris Carter. Touchdown, Minnesota.
Play action pass, throws up deep safety. Rich Gannon took a hit, but I guess he would sacrifice his head for that touchdown any day. I believe that was Santana Dotson with the contact. Even though you get the touchdown, the quarterback doesn't forget that kind of hit. Nonetheless, play action froze those deep safeties. Touchdown.
Juan Rivez on for the point after. And Minnesota, playing before its home crowd, scores on its opening possession and drive. And take a look at Gannon, who delivered it with Dotson and McCants. Rich Gannon paid the price on it, but he'll take it, as George Stark mentioned, any day on that 30-yard pass play from Gannon to Chris Carter. And there's Chris Carter, probably the most athletic player on this Vikings team. Says, and I am also told, in addition to what he says, he is an excellent basketball player.
Well, he is a pretty good basketball player, and as is the case, JB, with you and I, we may have to get these guys in the game one of the
You'll see a lot of Hail Marys to him because he is a good leaper. Rivez kicking off. Back deep, Gary Anderson for the Bucs. And Anderson Wisely will not return this one. He'll down it. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for Tampa as we take a look at the touchdown play for Minnesota.
Looking at the touchdown play, JB, it's a good, strong play action fake to the right. The whole line goes right. That frees that deep safety. He's got to come up and respect the run. And, of course, that opens up the touchdown to Chris Carter. Nice pass, nice catch. Good defensive coverage. You can't fault the coverage. He's there. Just perfectly thrown ball.
No doubt about it. Excellent route run. Good passing by Rich Gannon, who with that 57 yards on in the air moved past Joe Kapp in the 4th place all time for the Vikings. 1st and 10 for the Bucks. Testaverde back to pass and dumps it in the direction of Gary Anderson, but Henry Thomas was all over him. Incomplete. Vinny Testaverde had an outstanding week last week. 22 of 25, has not thrown an interception. Offensive line anchored by Paul Gruber, 5th year out of Wisconsin. Backs and receivers. Lawrence Dawsey and Mark Carey, 2 of the best rack receivers. Runners after the catch. On 2nd down, a flag on a play. Testaverde tipped and nearly intercepted by Audrey McMillan. And George, teasingly, you mentioned once we put up that graphic about Testaverde not having thrown an interception, surefire kiss of death.
That is the kiss of death. Actually, you know what's interesting about these first 2 plays is there's no back in the backfield. So obviously Minnesota knows it's going to be a pass, and they played zone.
Illegal motion, 82 offense, penalty is declined, 3rd down.
Bob McElwee with the call. Jack Del Rio leading a light but quick Minnesota defense, team leader in tackles with 21. And Henry Thomas with the pressure on that last play. Linebackers, I mentioned light but quick. And the secondary. Felix Wright looking to do a job today. Another flag on the play, and Vinny is sacked. Of 5 on a play as Al Noga picks up his 2nd sack of the year.
This is Al Noga rushing upfield. He kind of dips underneath. Vinny is not sure whether to let the ball go downfield or try to run. This is the kind of indecision that Minnesota wants to put him into. They felt that if they could get pressure on Vinny early, that he could be thinking this could be a bad day, that they can't win on the road.
Well, so far, Minnesota, again, executing its game plan, you said, which was to get to Vinny early, try to rattle him and get him back to the old Vinny being confused.
Absolutely. They want to mix their coverages downfield, make him think, make him reload, and get the pressure on him. That's what they've done.
3rd and 15 from the 15. Testaverde, incomplete. Intended receiver was Courtney Hawkins. So the Minnesota defense continuing its excellent play from last week, in which it held Barry Sanders to 66 yards.
You know, JB, Sam White said he didn't want to put too much pressure on Vinny today. He needed to run the football. But then he starts with 3 straight passes. So you're in 3 and you're out. Now your defense has to play. Minnesota has a chance to go up by another touchdown. I'm not sure that Sam White is thinking correctly on his first series.
Well, as he indicated to us, he wanted to give a false look to Minnesota with those passing plays, but he wants to stay on the ground. Straczynski. This is Anthony Parker from his 37. Parker, nice job by the Tampa defense stringing him out. Marty Carter ran him out of bounds. We'll be back. Minnesota on top by 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by your Toyota dealer, who invite you to discover the all-new Corolla. Discover Corolla again. AT&T, more ways to help you stay in touch. And by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Not a very good start for Sam White and the Bucks, who trail 7-0. Minnesota scoring on its opening drive. 9:51 left in the first quarter of play. James Brown along with George Stark. And again, George, we mentioned that Sam wanted to give a false look to Minnesota's defense, but Minnesota's defense wasn't buying. 1st and 10 from the 37. Gannon. Incomplete off the fingertips of Terry Allen. Allen was defended by Calvin Tiggle. And a busy slate of NFL action for us today. To keep us updated, here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, let's take you to the Meadowlands where the 49ers have drawn first blood against the New York Jets. Steve Young eludes the sack, finds Jerry Rice in the back of the end zone for 5 yards and a touchdown. 7-0 Frisco in the first, JB.
All right, Greg, and that 49er machinery seems to be operating at peak efficiency early in the season. 2nd and 10 for the Vikes out of the I formation. This is Allen, and Allen ahead for maybe a couple. Again, we talked about this young but active Tampa defense, and it looked good on that series, and certainly Santana Dotson has been a big story this year.
Well, 2 plays ago, the pass was incomplete, but Santana Dotson unloads on Rich Gannon. Once again, both of these defensive lines feel they've got to put pressure on the opposing quarterback, and they're getting to him. Santana Dotson just a little bit late.
What a polished young man out of Baylor, the rookie, well-spoken. 3rd and 8, Roger Craig, the back. Gannon with time throws an interception to Darryl Pollard. Pollard reverses field, has room, and run out of bounds at the 25-yard line by Chris Carter.
Big play by Darryl Pollard. What's odd about that is Rich Gannon had plenty of time to throw the ball. Unlike Santana rushed him a couple of plays earlier, as we saw, he had plenty of time to set up, look downfield, just delivered a very bad pass.
A 24-yard return of that interception by Darryl Pollard.
Take another look at it. Look at the left side of the line. That's Santana Dotson on number 64 in the center of your screen. No rush. Good throwing lane. Just overthrew his receiver. Good play by the defense.
And that was the first interception of the season for Darryl Pollard. 5th for the Buccaneers as you take a look at Pollard. So Vinny Testaverde with excellent field position at the 29 of Minnesota. This is Cobb. And Cobb maybe back to the line of scrimmage. An excellent job of pursuit by Carlos Jenkins, and he may have had a little help.
I think Sam is getting back to his basic offensive intent. Now he wants to start and establish a little something on the ground.
And that play, of course, set up by the turnovers. You take a look, Tampa Bay much improved in that category. 2nd in the league as far as turnovers are concerned. 2nd and 11, so there was a loss of 1. On the ground to Cobb. And Cobb ahead, this time running hard. A gain of 4 on a play tackled by Jack Del Rio. As you see, Del Rio and Henry Thomas giving each other a little credit.
JB, that's a good run straight ahead by Reggie Cobb. The noise may become a factor. It's very loud in here. Now, we know from talking to Vinny Testaverde and Sam Weiss that they practice by whispering it in practice in case they can't hear in a circumstance like this, but noise still could be a factor.
From the 27, 3rd and 7. A boot. Testaverde looking for Dawsey. Instead, he's sacked. Mike Merriweather. 2nd sack of the season for Mike Merriweather.
That's Merriweather at the bottom of your screen. Nobody's picking him up. Vinny's rolling out. This could be a circumstance where the quarterback has to get rid of the ball before the linebacker gets there. In Tampa's offensive blocking scheme, either the line picks him up, a back picks him up, or the quarterback has got to read it and get rid of the ball.
10 quarterback sacks on the season for the Vikings. Number 2 for Merriweather, and Vinny has been dropped twice already. 7:05 left in the first quarter of play, and the Buccaneers trail the Vikings 7-0. There's Anthony Parker, 2nd-year player out of Arizona State, back to receive this Dan Straczynski punt.
Offense, penalty is declined, 4th down.
Well, I was just about to say what Bob McElwee has already told us. Straczynski will be looking to hang this one high. And he does. Can they keep it in the field of play? And an excellent job by Tampa on that punt by Dan Straczynski. And the Vikings will start inside their 5 on that 31-yard punt. Rich Gannon drove Minnesota to his first touchdown, but as we mentioned, paid the price as Santana Dotson hurt that right throwing hand of Rich Gannon. You see the ice strapped to that right hand there, and here's the play, George, where it happened.
Yeah, this is McCants coming up from the right of your screen, and Santana Dotson right up the middle. They kind of sandwich him. He gets the ball off, but he pays the price, as you said, JB. That's part of being a quarterback in the NFL.
So Sean Salisbury, fourth-year quarterback out of USC, is in relief of Gannon. A gain of 2 on the play, and the book on Sean Salisbury, again, as we mentioned, out of USC, his first snap. And Denny Green told us that the guy has a good arm, a good thrower indeed, but just needs more game experience and to understand things better around him. Well, he's in the fire now.
Absolutely. It's a circumstance where you got a young guy. He's going to have to get some on-the-job training today, right here in the home opener.
2nd and 8 from the 6. Roger Craig, and the high stepping one takes it across the 10 before being stopped by Broderick Thomas. A gain of 5 by Roger Craig.
The best thing for Sean Salisbury now would be to get a running game going. Number one, of course, because you're backed up to your own end zone. And number 2, you don't want to put a new quarterback, his first start, from the 3-yard line in a situation where he has to pass the ball. So you now need to run. You need to take advantage of the fact that you've got Zimmerman and McDaniel on your left side. Attack those young fellas of Santana Dotson and Mark Wheeler. Their first year in the league. It's the time to take it to them.
3rd and 3. Salisbury has to run it and throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Roger Craig. Salisbury wanted to run that one himself, but he saw a buck in front of him, and I'm not certain whether it was McCants or not, and that changed his mind to try to drop it off to Craig.
Well, here he gets flushed out of the pocket. That is McCants coming toward him. I think it would have been wiser for him to run in this circumstance, but of course Roger Craig was down feeling open. Had he caught the pass, could have been a first down.
Rich Gannon hoping for a miracle that they can get back in. In the meantime, Harry Newsom punting from his own end zone. And he gets away a good one. And it was not fair caught by Courtney Hawkins at his own 46. Hawkins showing a lot of heart. A 42-yard punt, a 1-yard return. Next Saturday, CBS coverage of Major League Baseball features teams hot in the hunt for their division titles. The Pittsburgh Pirates try and maintain their lead in the NL East, that is, as they host the Mets. We'll see Chicago take on a team trying to derail the Pirates. The Expos back to live action. Testaverde and a good run by Reggie Cobb. A gallop of 6 yards. And the Buccaneers will now come up with a 2nd and 4. Good field position by the Bucs, the second such. We'll see if they can capitalize.
Good field position and excellent execution. Minnesota feels they can tell by the position of the backs whether it's a run or pass. If Highsmith's up, it's a run. He was up. They knew it was a run. They executed properly anyway.
2nd and 4. The attack offense of the Bucs. Testaverde barking out the signals. Diving over top of the pile, maybe about a yard shy of what's necessary for the first down. John Randall, 3rd-year defensive player out of Texas A&I on the stop. And Highsmith, not a good sign for Alonzo Highsmith, and we certainly know it's been well documented about the problems he's had with his knee.
Well, there's problems he's had in the past with his knee. In addition to that is the fact that Sam White considers him to be the key blocker in their running game. That when Alonzo is up in the wing position, there's probably going to be a run. He's the best. Sam almost feels he's the best blocker he has on the whole team. That's Highsmith's leading the block through the line. Takes a hit. Looks like he twists his left knee.
George, I was talking with you and a couple of the players about this in our conversations. I mean, this is, and it's been said so often, this is absolutely the worst kind of surface for a player to be playing on. I'm asking you guys, why don't they have at least 4 or 5 inches of cushion up under there?
Well, I think the reason that they have artificial surfaces to begin with is so you can have a rock concert on Saturday night and play football on Sunday. That kind of surface may not be conducive to crowds, I don't know. But the field is very hard, that's for sure, and it does force injuries.
3rd and 1. Play action. Testaverde looking for Armstrong, who falls down. The rookie tight end out of Mississippi running the deep route, the corner route, slipped on the turf, defended by Felix Wright. As you take a look at Rich Gannon, has a sprained right hand, and the word from the field questionable as to whether he will return to action. You see the ice pack on that throwing hand, so Sean Salisbury will have to learn in a hurry.
One thing you know, JP, is that his injury has got to be serious. For a quarterback to come out of the game, especially in the home opener, a chance to look good before the hometown fans, it's got to be serious. Not the kind of thing you come out of a game on and miss your chance to be a star at home.
The Metrodome, a stadium that seats 63,000. This is actually the first blackout here in the...
To all of our audience out there, we have lost our picture.
So this will be Sports Talk Radio, 4th and 1 for the Buccaneers at the 44. Cobb. And Cobb eludes the tackle of Jack Del Rio and runs for the first down. Reggie Cobb took the handoff from Vinny Testaverde, ran around the right side of the line, eluding the tackle attempt of Jack Del Rio, and gets the first down. So again, we apologize for the loss of picture. We'll hope to have that taken care of in just a second. Testaverde throws it complete to Mark Carrier to the left side of the field. Carrier, a 60-year wide receiver out of Nicholls State.
JP, on that last play, that short yardage, successfully run play, Alonzo Highsmith is back in the game and made the key block. So Alonzo's back. That's a good sign for 10.
And another handoff to Reggie Cobb, but Cobb this time does not get away from Jack Del Rio, who grabs him and drags him down behind the line of scrimmage. Vinny Testaverde operating the no-huddle offense, which is not necessarily a hurry-up offense. And I understand that we do have the picture back. 3rd and 3 for the Bucs at the 31 of Minnesota. 2:48 left in the first quarter. Bucs trailing by a touchdown. On the ground again, Cobb to the right side, and Cobb has the first down. Reggie Cobb running hard, finally tackled by Al Noga, and as always, give the credit to somebody who made it happen, Alonzo Highsmith.
Once again, Alonzo Highsmith, we saw him go off, looked like he was hurt. Play came back. Let's take a look at the play going to the right. Alonzo Highsmith, when he's in the up back position, will make the key block. Look, he's looking inside, looking outside. Boom, lowers the wood to him. Kicks him out. Nice play, Alonzo Highsmith.
1st and 10 for the Bucs at the 22 as we take a look at Tom McHale being hepped off the field. 60-year player out of Cornell, and another injury along the offensive line. Randy Grimes, 9th-year player out of Baylor, hurt his foot last week in the second quarter against Green Bay. He's on IR. So Tim Ryan comes in to replace McHale. Play action. Testaverde throws it complete for the first down to Mark Carrier. And Testaverde hit awfully hard that time as you take a look at him slowly getting up. A 13-yard pass play from Testaverde to Carrier.
I think that's Henry Thomas who comes up the middle and puts the hit on Testaverde. There's a little bit of competition, of course, for hurting the other team's quarterback. That's Henry Thomas. Vinny, it looks like he hurts his hand.
Well,
Very much like Rick Gannon.
Take a look. Testaverde make that Thomas lucky he didn't get a call for spearing. He hit Testaverde in the chest with his helmet. First and goal from the 9. Cobb ahead for 3. Will bring up a second and goal at about the 6. Todd Scott on the stop. Scott, the strong safety for Minnesota, trying to replace Joey Browner, who now plays for that man, Sam White.
Sam White and his no-huddle attack offense is keeping Minnesota on the line of scrimmage. They want to keep them tense, keep them ready, have them not knowing when the ball's going to be snapped. Attack, attack, attack.
Second and goal from the 6. Three seconds left on the play clock, and they just get it off. Testaverde with all kinds of time to Highsmith, and Highsmith takes it down to about the 2. So an excellent job of blocking. And Testaverde finds Highsmith. And the ball is actually spotted on the 1.
Vinny Testaverde throwing the ball to Highsmith is almost the equivalent of the Washington Redskins throwing the ball to a tight end, an unlikely receiver. Vinny, of course, had plenty of time. Highsmith was open. He delivered the ball to him. Highsmith caught it. Nice play.
That is a good analogy you gave in terms of the Redskins going to their tight ends. That was only the 3rd catch of the season for Alonzo Highsmith. And a timeout called by Tampa. The Bucks with 2 remaining, Minnesota with 2 remaining. So much has been made about what Sam White has done to bring about a more poised and confident-looking Vinny Testaverde through the first couple of games.
We spoke with Reggie Cobb about this yesterday, and Reggie said Sam has instilled a confidence that he has an offense that can take advantage of Vinny Testaverde's natural abilities. He can flow right, he can flow left, he can hit the short pass, hit the deep pass, but he can roll out and run, and that there's a new look in Vinny's eyes, a look of confidence, more of a strut in his step. He's very, very, very warm and comfortable with Sam White as his mentor.
The NFL on CBS continues next Sunday with regional action. Many of you will see Atlanta at Chicago. Others will see these Minnesota Vikings take on the Cincinnati Bengals or Tampa at Detroit. The day gets underway, of course, with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. And Vinny also talked about, to continue your thought about that, the offensive line, the improvement over the years certainly has given him reason to be more confident. 3rd and goal from the 1. Pressure on Testaverde by Dolman, and Testaverde throws it away. There is a flag on the play.
They're going to call grounding, I believe, JB. Sure enough, intentional grounding on Vinny Testaverde.
Intentionally grounding.
This is Vinny Testaverde rolling to the right. Doesn't have anybody open. He does the right thing, which is to throw the ball away, and they call intentional grounding. Vinny feels that there was somebody in the area, and it shouldn't have been called, but called anyway.
And of course, that means a loss of down along with the penalty. So Dan Straczynski comes on to hold for Ken Willis, and Willis will attempt the field goal. Long thus far this season, a 45-yarder. This will be called a 40-yarder. And it's good. Ken Willis getting Tampa on the scoreboard with the 3 with 11 seconds left in the first quarter of play. So the Bucks come away with something and trail the Vikings 7-3. Chris Dolman, who is having himself a marvelous season. Folks say he's showing the ghost of years past.
Well, we spoke with Chris, and he says he's happy.
That'll do it.
That Dennis Green has kind of changed the philosophy from looking to one or two guys to make all the big plays to more of a team concept that he fits in with. His role fits in well with the role of the other players, and that he doesn't have to be relied upon to make the big plays all the time. Feels he'll still make them, but doesn't have to be relied upon.
There's Chris Doman, and certainly he's the latest in a long line of very impressive defensive players like Alan Page, the first defensive player to be named MVP, that occurring back in 1971. And not only did he do it on the field, he's doing it off the field, a candidate for the Minnesota State Supreme Court.
Very classy man. I was fortunate enough to play against him.
And a very bright man. 11 seconds left in the first quarter. Ken Willis of the Bucks kicking it high and short. Joe Johnson. And Joe Johnson takes it across the 20 to about the 23. Tackled by Derek Brownlow. Joe Johnson came to the Vikings in a trade along with George Hinkle. That trade involving, of course, the Vikings and the Washington Redskins. Buccaneers trailing the Vikings 7-3 with 2 seconds left in the first quarter play. Salisbury, the quarterback, in for the injured Rich Gannon. And wisely keeps it on the ground, and that runs out the clock. And that ends the first quarter of play here at the Metrodome with the score of Minnesota 7, Tampa 3. We'll be back with the second quarter play after this. Well, I tell you, the Vikings players would certainly like to have a lot more fans like that.
The young Vikingettes?
Without a doubt. Very friendly people in these parts. Minneapolis.
Land of thousands of lakes.
And I'm sure a relatively friendly discussion taking place there.
That's Manuski, Plan B from the Washington Redskins, special team star.
And Carlos Jenkins, the one doing the talking, second-year player out of Michigan State. Meanwhile, over on the Tampa sidelines, and Sam White really has done an awful lot to instill a very family-oriented feeling with the Bucks, and hopefully that will carry them somewhere as they feel. 2nd and 9 from the 24. Salisbury, the draw to Allen. And Allen has to work hard to get it across the 25. A gain of 2. All right, let's check back in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, at the Georgia Dome, a block punt helped set New Orleans up with a 1st and goal from the 1. They couldn't punch it in 4 tries. Dalton Hilliard stopped by rookie Terry Ray on 4th down. They're still scoreless in Atlanta, 9:40 to play in the first half, JB.
And Greg, I know you know all too well about that rivalry. That's one of the hottest ones down south and in the league, period. New Orleans and Atlanta. On 3rd down, Salisbury with time to pass. Merely throws an interception. Joey Browner with the excellent defensive play, and this is a field that has seen an awful lot of heroics by Joey Browner.
Just like Rich Gannon, this is another hit on the quarterback. This is Wheeler. Young man out of Texas A&M puts a very, very serious hit on Sean Salisbury. Right now he's thinking, I know what Rich Gannon was feeling.
And we'll probably see a lot more of that because Mark Wheeler wants a sack in the worst possible way. Harry Newsom on to punt for the Vikes. Not a particularly good one. And fair caught at the 37 by Courtney Hawkins. Tampa will come away with good field position again after that 37-yard punt.
This game summary is sponsored by Coors Light.
The scoring so far, a 30-yard pass play for Rich Gannon to Chris Carter. Made it 7-0 Minnesota. Tampa comes back on the strength of a 40-yard field goal by Ken Willis to make it 7-3. But the big note of the game so far, Rich Gannon, who drove Minnesota to the scoring drive on their opening possession, injured his hand.
Rich Gannon injured his hand on a hit by Santana Dotson, and of course that's brought in Sean Salisbury. Minnesota not very deep in quarterbacks with experience. Santana Dotson has 4 sacks on the year. A lot of hits on the quarterback. That's him and Keith McCants.
And despite the hit and the hand, you see Gannon grabbing his hand right there, but he stayed in on this series, and there's a touchdown pass.
Earlier, he took another hit but delivered a touchdown pass to Chris Carter. So he's had a chance to deliver a touchdown, took hits on both plays, and as a result is out now.
1st and 10, Tampa. Cobb and Reggie Cobb. Nice hard running by Cobb as he moves ahead for 4, stopped by Todd Scott. And talking with Reggie Cobb, very candid about how he much prefers to be a ball carrier right now as opposed to a pass catcher because he's not very adept at that right now. He was the man, of course, at Tennessee.
He was the man at Tennessee, and of course Sam's offensive scheme requires the running back to split out wide and catch passes, and he's not comfortable with that part of the offense yet.
And Minnesota recovered the fumble. It looks like Jack Del Rio under the pile.
It looked like it was just a fumbled exchange between Tony Mayberry and Vinny Testaverde. Vinny looked like he pulled out a little bit early. He was going to roll to the left and didn't have the ball. Take another look. Vinny looks like he steps out a little bit early, and Tony Mayberry had to step to the left. The block number 93, John Randall, you slide to the left on a roll to the left, and there was just a miscue between the two.
That is the first turnover for Tampa, and Minnesota with excellent field position at the 41 of the Bucks. Salisbury with time, going up top for Chris Carter, overthrows him, and Carter defended well by Darryl Pollard. George, just to elaborate on the point that you made about Minnesota not having a lot of experience in the backup quarterback spot. Salisbury, we mentioned, 4th-year player out of USC, very limited experience. And the only other is Brad Johnson, a rookie out of Florida State.
That's true. And Sean Salisbury, his last couple of passes he's thrown into coverage. I think he's not comfortable reading defenses.
Throws that one to Terry Allen, and Terry Allen is greeted by Joey Browner. Joey Browner said, when I get finished with the game today, the fans who used to cheer for me will know I'm back.
He's back.
And he gets a round of boos, a chorus of boos from the fans. A 6-time Pro Bowler. All of them, of course, with the Minnesota Vikings. A few people still love him. 3rd and 14 from the 45. Flags on a play, stopping the action. And that one goes against Minnesota. Hassan Jones, the culprit that time. There's Joey Browner. And there's another guy by the name of Darrell Fullington, who both played here, starting safeties for the Vikings back in 1990. And now they're in Buccaneer uniforms. There's Browner.
They'd like to get a lot of boos today. That would mean they're playing well.
3rd and 19. Salisbury grabbed and sacked by Broderick Thomas. That is the first sack of the season for Broderick Thomas, and it comes at the 12:27 mark of the 2nd quarter, a loss of 1. Now, Broderick Thomas will probably be chatting again.
Well, Broderick Thomas will get the sack, but Santana Dotson, as he has always been, is there. He's beating him there. He beats Irwin, makes the sack. That is Broderick's first sack. He can now talk. Broderick was very quiet going into the game.
Yeah,
there he is. Look, there he's talking.
Newsom comes on to punt. And fair caught at the 22 by Courtney Hawkins. And Salisbury looking for a little phone help. 7-3 ball game. Vikings on top. The oldest player in the NFL, Steve DeBerg, 16th year vet out of San Jose State. In action now, as you take a look at Vinny Testaverde, the tape of him leaving the field, he hurt his hand as well. Meanwhile, the handoff to Gary Anderson. Anderson to the right side. And you see DeBerg because of the injury to Testaverde.
Testaverde took a big hit. You know, and we saw him go to the leaving the field. That's number 97, Henry Thomas, putting a hit on Vinny Testaverde. When you see a quarterback or anybody really leave the field, that means they're going for x-rays. They must believe he has some kind of break in his hand.
Testaverde, as you saw Henry Thomas bury that helmet into him, was hit in the forearm, and he's lost feeling in that forearm. DeBerg complete to Ron Hall. Ron Hall up a couple of yards shy of the first down marker. Will make it a 3rd and 2 coming up. DeBerg actually hurt his thumb during the preseason. It's healed now, and he said even back then he will be healthy enough to go if needed. 3rd and 2 from the 26. 3 wideouts. DeBerg changing the call. 6 seconds left on the play clock. Sack. Dolman.
Dolman beat Gruber. We spoke with Chris Dolman. He said he felt he could beat left tackle Paul Gruber. He can get Gruber going upfield and dip that shoulder and make it a short corner. Noise may be a factor here. That's Gruber, the right side of his screen. He's pushing. Looks like he got off late. Chris Dolman beat him by a step coming off the line of scrimmage. Noise could have been the factor there.
4th sack of the season for Dolman. 11th for the Vikings. Straczynski. Good punt. Barker fair catches it at the 48. Well, Dolman said he didn't think Gruber, who is an excellent tackle, could stop him. He didn't there. Chris Dolman with the sack on that last play, getting by an excellent tackle in Paul Gruber. 1 sack today, 4 in the season, and we were a little surprised at how he really dismissed Paul Gruber, who is an excellent tackle.
Well, he felt that Paul Gruber's style, that he kind of floated back into pass protection, was something that he could exploit, and it looks like he may have been correct.
On 1st and 10, a quick out to Anthony Carter. Carter has the first down, and there is a flag on the play. We'll see if the play holds. And it does not, as the preliminary signal is against Minnesota.
Now, JB, that would have been Salisbury's first completion.
Live from the Metrodome here in Minneapolis, an NFC Central Division matchup between the division-leading Tampa Bay Bucks at 2-0 against the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. Vikes on top 7-3, 10:07 left in the second quarter. And Denny Green, we saw on the sidelines, George, he rarely changes expression whether the team is up or down.
He doesn't change expressions, but you know he wasn't happy about that penalty. That was Sean's first completion, and it was brought back by a penalty. The one thing that he said he wanted to correct this week over last week, not have penalties stop drives, not have penalties or drop passes. Pass complete, penalty, stop drive.
Terry Allen was the ball carrier that time. Will bring up a 3rd down situation for the Vikings. To make it 2nd, it'll be 2nd and 17. From the 41, 9:40 left in the first half of play. Salisbury has pressure on him, and he sacked Santana Dotson, and with that, that is his 5th sack, and he ties the Tampa Bay rookie record for sacks, along with a stellar name by the name of Leroy Selman and also Chris Washington.
That's Santana Dotson. He's in the middle right of your screen. He just beats Randall McDaniel one-on-one. Randall McDaniel felt he could take this rookie on aggressively. It hasn't worked for him. Santana Dotson has several hits, 1 sack. He wants to average 2 sacks a game.
And the play is stopped. Penalty flags on 3rd and 24. And this goes against Minnesota.
Before the snap.
Before the snap.
Third down.
And I believe that was Gary Zimmerman.
Let's go.
Dotson. And apparently he got credit for a half a sack earlier, which now gives him a total of 5.5. So he is the new rookie leader. 3rd and 29. Salisbury run out of bounds by Mark Wheeler. And I'm smiling as Mark Wheeler runs him out of bounds. Wheeler was quite candid with us about what he wants to do and participate with the defense.
Mark Wheeler would like to just get near a quarterback, get a sack. He feels that the defense double teams him inside, allows Santana, his best buddy, whom he calls Dog, to get one-on-one, and Santana feels one-on-one. He should be able to beat that offensive guard at least enough times in the game to keep up to his goal, which is 2 sacks a game.
Newsom on to punt. Hawkins back deep for the Bucks. And bounces out at about the 41. 8:40 left in the first half of play. Minnesota leading 7-3. Santana Dotson, number 71, the rookie out of Baylor. And I tell you, he's got some football playing genes in him as well. His father, Alphonse Dotson.
Boy, look how much he looks like his dad.
Spitting image. Played for Kansas City, Miami, and Oakland.
Dad played for John Madden.
Our John Madden.
Our colleague. Coached his dad.
Says his dad calls him every week telling him never to let up. And Cobb held up that time, and give the credit to Ray Berry, 6th-year backer out of Baylor. What an awfully strong hit applied that time by Ray Berry. And Denny Green told us that we would see, as well as Tony Dungy, a lot of substituting on the defensive end as well.
Well, they believe that speed is the one factor that the Vikings have on defense to their advantage. So their guys run a lot, run nonstop, and they feel they can freely substitute because they don't drop off on the skill level.
Only a gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Drury in motion. Doman got a jump. Noga misses a sack, and it's complete for the first down to Ron Hall. Boy, I tell you, DeBerg really did a job to elude some guys who were breathing down his throat and got it off. 12-yard pass play.
Steve DeBerg at 38, and the oldest player in the NFL, shows how nifty he can be. Steps under Al Noga. That's the kind of rush where you feel you see your life passing before your eyes. Al Noga bearing down on you, and you're out there by yourself. Nice move, though, by the old fella.
Drury in motion. 1st and 10 from the 45 of Minnesota. And Cobb running hard. A flag on a play in the backfield. As Reggie Cobb seems to get stronger with the number of increased carries.
Personal foul, 56, unnecessary roughness, 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
Well, that's the kind of penalty that Chris Doman doesn't need to get called on him. And McElwee was quite demonstrative in showing him what he did.
What's happening now is both of these defenses feel that the game is in their hands. Neither offense of Tampa nor the offense of Minnesota is performing very well right now. So both of these defensive lines are very charged up, and they want to take control and make it happen themselves. Chris Doman just got a little out of hand that time.
Both quarterbacks taking a lot of hits. And Chris Doman and Paul Gruber. That's an interesting battle, doing a lot of talking. 1st and 10 from the 28 of Minnesota. And Gruber won the battle that time. Complete. Touchdown, Tampa, Courtney Hawkins.
Nice touch by Steve DeBerg. There he is, 38, oldest player. It starts with pass protection. That time, Gruber had no problem with Chris Dolan. Floated back, kept him out. DeBerg stepped up, delivered the pass. Courtney Hawkins, nice catch, touchdown.
George George, I was telling you, and I know you saw it, the battle between Gruber and Dolman.
Absolutely. This time Dolman didn't get a jump. I think the noise was a factor earlier. Gruber had time to set up, kick that left leg out, get his hands on Dolman. He's much larger than Dolman. Just ride him right past. DeBerg stepped up, delivered the pass.
And a flag on the play before the kick. And that Minnesota defensive line moving too quickly. Courtney Hawkins, the rookie out of Michigan State.
From another angle, you can see Steve DeBerg, he steps up, a nice throwing angle. Courtney Hawkins, young fellow, rookie, runs very well with the ball after the catch.
And Steve DeBerg, not too old to be excited about a good play.
X-rays are looking at Vinny Testaverde's X-rays. Not a good sign, but at least you can say that Tampa has the advantage in the backup quarterback situation, in that they have a veteran, Steve DeBerg, who's been there and taken teams to the playoffs before, unlike Minnesota and Sean Salisbury.
And the point after is good. So Tampa moves ahead by the score of 10-7. As you take a look at Vinny Testaverde, who's come back onto the sidelines. Now, let me ask you, if you were Sam White, Vinny Testaverde's back, apparently okay. Would you put him back in the ball game or leave DeBerg in?
I would leave DeBerg in. First of all,
why?
Vinny is hurt. We don't know how badly he's hurt. Even if it's not a break, right now your offense seems to be moving under Steve DeBerg.
So you would leave that man in there?
Well, you don't want to mess with success. And I think that Tampa has the advantage in the quarterback scramble right now because they have two veteran quarterbacks. If Steve DeBerg can play, and he is playing, he's doing well. Minnesota doesn't have that opportunity. They got to go with a young man who hasn't really played before.
Don't forget, coming up next as a part of Doubleheader Sunday here on CBS, it'll be a rematch of last year's NFC Championship when the Lions. Now, it might be showtime for the Redskins, and that certainly was the case, but it's payback time for Detroit. The Lions have not won at Washington since 1939. They'll have to get pressure on Mark Rippon to avoid his game-breaking tosses to the posse. All of that coming your way next. Detroit and Washington. From the 5, Joe Johnson, an ex-Redskin, and Johnson dropped near the 20-yard line. So it'll be Minnesota ball, 1st and 10 from its own 26:39 left and a half to play, and Tampa Bay on top 10-7. George, you had made mention of the momentum switch going from Minnesota after that opening drive and touchdown to when Tampa took over.
Well, Minnesota's first drive, they got 65 yards. Since that time, they've had 5 drives for -3 yards. They seem to have lost their poise. They need to regroup and go back to basics. Run the ball, short passes, regain their confidence.
Craig, the lone back, on 1st and 10, a quick out to Anthony Carter. And Carter across the 25 to about the 27. We'll see where they mark it. It was a gain of at least 6 on the play. Anthony Carter, 98 consecutive games with at least 1 reception. That happened back in the first quarter, and he keeps it going. Philadelphia on top, 17-zip, and still scoreless between New Orleans and Atlanta. So it's a gain of 8, bringing up a 2nd and 2. Craig, stopped by Calvin Tiggle after a short gain, and Rich Gannon, you know he's chomping at the bit to get back in there. Looked awfully good on that opening drive, took them downfield for a score.
He did look good at delivering the touchdown pass, but even so, he was taking hits on the opening drive. And there's so many hits a quarterback can take before something breaks. I mean, he is human, it's flesh and blood.
Literally and figuratively before something breaks, huh?
You get those 290-pound guys falling on you, something's going to give.
3rd and 1 from the 29. The pitch to Craig. 1st down. to the 37, and you can see the 10th-year vet out of Nebraska wanted a lot more. Tackled by Marty Carter.
It's Roger Craig running over the left side. Mr. High knee action. We've seen him so much in San Francisco. There he goes, that high step. A veteran that right now can maybe generate some enthusiasm on this Minnesota Viking offense.
Says he wants another ring to match the number of kids that he has. Salisbury downtown for Chris Carter. Incomplete, off of the chest of Chris Carter, who was being defended by Ricky Reynolds. Boy, that was a well-thrown ball.
It was a well-thrown ball, JB. The problem, I think, with Sean Salisbury is they're giving him one receiver options. He dropped back, he looked downfield, that ball was going there. He didn't look anywhere else. There was no flat drop-off. I think they believe they simplified the offense for him. They said, run this play action, look downfield, deliver the ball. As the game goes on, it'll be interesting to see if they allow him to go to his second and third receivers.
Roger Craig, the lone back on 2nd and 10. And it's complete for the first down. And AC coming up big. That was an 18-yard pass play from Salisbury to Anthony Carter. Draw to Craig. And not unusual for Minnesota to give the ball to Roger Craig in long stretches.
I think that's that Jack Burns influence, that if something is going well, you don't change it. Roger Craig will get the ball in spurts in 4 or 5 plays. That time it was a little misdirection, trying to take advantage of the flowing of Mark Wheeler and Santana Dotson inside. Sort of faked him to the left and then brought the ball back to the right.
2nd and 8. Craig out. Terry Allen back in. 3:18 left to play in the half. Salisbury. Pressure by Wheeler. And Wheeler knocks it loose. Salisbury did recover.
The big fella Wheeler almost got his sack.
He wants it so bad he can taste it.
Mark Wheeler says they're always double teaming me. I never get a chance to get a quarterback sack. He had a hurry earlier. He's got Salisbury right there in his arms, in his grasp, knocks the ball out, but doesn't quite get the sack.
A loss of 8 on the play, and that will be credited as a sack to Broderick Thomas. So Thomas adds yet another sack to his credit. He's got 2. 3rd and 16. Salisbury looking for Hassan Jones and overthrows him. Darrell Pollard right there with him. But you know, we're making so much to do about Mark Wheeler, but low-key, very candid guy, the rookie out of Texas A&M, and we asked him, what would you like to accomplish most this season? He says, fellas, just give me a half a sack a game. That's all I want.
You know, when he knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hand, the ball bounced up into Sean Salisbury's arms, and then McCants got the sack. Had that ball not, Broderick Thomas, had the ball not bounced back to the quarterback, that would have been a fumble and a sack.
Courtney Hawkins taking the punt in, so Tampa will operate from its own 13 as you take a look at Sean Salisbury. And again, George, let me elaborate on the point that you made as you look at the frustration on the face of Salisbury. Tampa has that experienced quarterback. Most coaches go with the philosophy of having an experienced guy with a lot of years behind your starter.
Absolutely, and you can see why. Sean Salisbury is running really that two-back offense that we've seen on other teams. Phoenix runs it now, Washington runs it. and they have a posse. They've got 1, 2, or 3 options to throw the ball. They're really giving him one option. That play wasn't open deep, but he didn't feel confident to come somewhere else with the football. Experience is very important.
DeBerg still in for the Bucks. 1st and 10 from their own 13. And a flag on a play as Anderson takes it across the 15 to about the 16. We'll see if the gain holds up.
Looked like John Randall jumped early.
Defense holding number 32 offense. Those penalties offset. Replay the down.
So we go back to 1st and 10 from the 13 as we take a look at Testaverde with that right forearm wrapped up. It is bruised, but he is okay. Could return to action if needed. But right now, Sam White has decided to stay with Steve DeBerg. Testaverde and DeBerg know each other, played together for a brief bit. And DeBerg certainly has taught Testaverde a lot. 1st and 10. Tampa and Minnesota both with 2 timeouts remaining. Anderson smacked hard. A gain of only 2 with 2:18 left in the first half of play. The Bucks on top, 10-7. DeBerg running the no huddle, barking out signals. 3 wideouts. Drills it complete to Mark Carrier. What a well-run pattern. DeBerg to Carrier for a big first down with 1:56 left in the first half of play. A 23-yard pass play from DeBerg to Carrier. Coming up on the NFL Today halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores and highlights and a preview of the big doubleheader game between Detroit and Washington as Pat Summerall and John Madden talk about the rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. That'll be coming up at halftime back in New York with Greg and Terry. And I'm sure Greg and Terry will update you on John Taylor, the superb wide receiver for the 49ers, who has a broken right fibula. And he will be out for at least 6 weeks. 1:56 left to play, 1st and 10. The handoff, the draw to Anderson. He can motor. First down and more. Gary Anderson run out of bounds at the 45 of Minnesota by Todd Scott. Anderson, I guess he and I have something in common. We have very thin legs and he can move.
Well, he might be just a little bit faster than you, Jim.
I wouldn't disagree.
Gary Anderson is their fast back. He can run out of the backfield and, of course, run from the wide receiver position. Very fast, a lot of speed.
Nickel defensive package in for the Vikings. Flag on the play as the ball is thrown complete to Carrier. And Carrier, a gain of 7 on the play. Anthony Parker on the stop. We'll get the call from the official.
Illegal formation. 6
And
men
that
on the
goes
line.
against.
5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And we all know that you need at least 7 men.
Got to have 7 men on the line. Even though there's a penalty, Steve DeBerg showed heads-up veteran play in delivering that pass. It was a blitz break-off and a blitz adjustment by Carrier. He saw the dog inside, broke off his route. DeBerg delivered the ball to him. A penalty, but still, it shows the difference between having a veteran quarterback as backup as opposed to someone with less experience.
That veteran quarterback for the Bucks, Steve DeBerg, 4 of 4 for 73 yards. And the Bucks generally acknowledged around the league that is, of having the best receivers who can run after the catch. DeBerg throws it to Anderson. And Anderson smacked hard and driven out of bounds by Carl Lee, the 10th-year left corner out of Marshall. As you take a look at Paul Gruber, that was his 4,000th consecutive snap. The young man, 5th-year player out of Wisconsin. Now, George, I know you think that maybe that's a dubious accomplishment.
Well, we've got 4,000 snaps by Gruber, and we've got 151 consecutive games by Tim Irwin, the right tackle of the Minnesota Vikings. So,
in the meantime, Gary Anderson runs near the first down marker. Anthony Parker on a stop. We'll see if, in fact, it is a first down. It looks awfully close from here.
well, like a first down, JB, but we'll get our pencils out and determine whether 4,000 snaps is more or less than 151 consecutive games. I want to know which one of these linemen has played the longest without taking a break.
Far short of Tim Irwin. Take a look at Sam White talking with Steve DeBerg. Sam White and Denny Green both are very familiar with each other, not only sharing in common that they're first-year coaches of their respective organizations, but they were office mates when they were assistant coaches with the San Francisco 49ers.
That was back in '79. They shared a cubicle, an office cubicle, as assistant coaches have. I'm sure it wasn't opulent. Dennis Green was the special teams coach, I believe that.
And they're both taking credit for having discovered the league's best quarterback ever.
Joe Montana. I believe they were on the beach. They were scouting a young lineman. Owens, that's right, running back. And they had a fella throwing Owens the football to see if he could catch it. And they noticed that guy throwing the football, that the ball always came to the right place, to the right shoulder, then the left shoulder, then the hip. And all of a sudden they looked and said, who is that guy? That guy was Joe Montana.
No doubt about it. Owens insisting that these guys call a young man who was down the road at Manhattan Beach by the name of Montana. On 3rd and 1, DeBerg takes it ahead. Ball is loose, but dead. The whistle blew it dead, and there is a flag on the play. So on a 3rd and 1, DeBerg showing he's still tough-nosed on a quarterback keeper.
False start offense. Team was never set. Team was never set. Before the snap. Before the snap.
That's DeBerg. He fumbles the snap. DeBerg is trying to get it. The ball comes out. Rolling free. The whistle hasn't blown. That's Gruber, Mr. 4,000. He's going after the ball, but that official showed a lot of guts picking that ball up with that big fella going down for it.
I'm telling you, McElwee was awfully fortunate because Gruber would have gone right at him. At the last second, he changed directions and took a little speed off of his run. Not that that would have taken much. 3rd and 6. 4 wideouts in for the Bucs. And flags on a play.
Number 17. False start number 7. You call them. You call them, Steve. You know you call them.
You hear the official commenting, Steve DeBerg, the master at changing the cadence and his body language to draw teams offside, was caught that time.
Absolutely. You can, by cadence, try to get the defense to jump off sides, but you can't move. And what the officials are saying is that Steve DeBerg either bobbed his head, moved his foot, squeezed the ball, did something to draw the defense off sides.
DeBerg has mastered that over the years, used that so successfully with Kansas City. So it is now a 3rd and 11 from the 45. DeBerg moves up under center because of the noise. And Dolman gets to him at the last second. Anderson is going to be at least 7 yards shy of the first down marker. Anthony Parker on the stop.
Steve DeBerg took a hit from Chris Dolman that time. It looked like he might have been hurt, but he popped up. Chris Dolman put the rush on, beat Carl Gruber around the outside, and got the hit on Steve DeBerg.
And a timeout called that time by Minnesota, leaving both Tampa and Minnesota with 1 timeout apiece.
This is a screen play. Steve DeBerg is trying to drop back, get his lineman downfield, but he needs some time to do that. He feels Chris Dolman coming from behind, so he's got to deliver the ball a little bit early. Gary Anderson made a good catch on the play, but the play didn't get a chance to develop downfield properly.
Now, we can talk about this during the broadcast now. Chris Dolman beat Paul Gruber again to get there within a split second of nailing DeBerg. Dolman was telling us about Gruber's blocking style and why he's able to take advantage of it. What exactly was he talking about?
He referred in our conversation when you and he were speaking of Gruber as being a window washer, which is to say he's got his big hands up and out, kind of moving them circular, but he's really floating. What he means is he's floating. What he wants to make Gruber do is sit down, and then he'll try to beat him around the corner. So that's what he's actually effectively done at least twice.
Called him a window washer. Hands up in the chest as opposed to down lower. And a fake play by Sam White is effective for the first down. A fake punt executed well by Darrell Fullington. Yeah. Fullington on the catch. And what a nice job by Straczynski as he passes to a wide open Fullington.
Great pass by Straczynski. Now, the one thing you know about Sam White is he always has a lot of tricks in his trick bag. You can never relax against Sam White.
Flag on a play as Carrier takes it inside the 25. For gain of 4, we'll find out what the call is. Sam White's forever thinking and creative.
Offside, number 99, defense. First down. 5 yards, still first down.
This is the fake. You've got to draw the defense in, deliver that ball downfield. Nice play.
Not unusual because Straczynski was a quarterback in high school. This is Anderson. And Anderson inside the 15. Mike Merriweather on the stop. Well, I tell you, Sam White's really showing what Red Auerbach calls a feel for the game as he stayed on top of it, knowing that Straczynski could throw the ball well. The Bird throwing it well to Carrier. The clock continues to wind. 9 seconds. It stopped that, left here in the first half. And that's the last Tampa Bay timeout. Minnesota with 1.
Sam White's always attacking, JB. Attacks even on punts. One thing about Sam, the defense knows is you can't relax. He's going to attack from his no-huddle offense, and he'll attack with his punter. He'll attack with his kicker. He'll attack with the water boy. Sam White's always wishing to take advantage. 2 old quarterbacks right there. Sam White and Steve DeBerg.
And you know what? A lot of tricks between the both of them. Sam White's the roller coaster ride with Sam White over the last 5 years with Cincinnati, so if it follows form,
he should be first this year.
That's right. And look at him. Ken Willis on to attempt the field goal. And this one is good. A 29-yard field goal by Ken Willis, and White's Bucks out in front by a score of 13-7 with 6 seconds remaining. You know, we talked about the 0-14 road record of the Buccaneers, the last road win coming here in the Metrodome. Sam White, not unusual in that he will rely on a little luck as he crosses his fingers.
Well, Sam, you know, as an amateur magician, a little bit of luck, whatever works.
But what he was hoping would work is he told the guys, hey, let's treat this as a business trip. Later for the talk of 0-14, we're on business here.
Well, there are several different objects of this game. One, they want to win. They want to go undefeated in the Central Division, but they also have to get this thing off them of losing 14 straight games on the road. The last time they won, as you said, was here 14 games ago. So as they progress step by step in their development as a team, this is yet another step for them. Win on the road, and at the same time, heck, beat a division opponent.
And what Sam wanted the guys to do in terms of treating this as a business trip was to wear ties, as they are all doing now. They wear shirt and ties. Told them, let's minimize the socializing with family on the road. Tell your friends, hey, I'm here to work. And a move designed to run time off the clock with that kick there, as Joe Johnson returns it for a couple, and there are 3 seconds remaining in the first half. As a matter of fact, Sam White had a shirt and tie on when he came to talk with us. There's Chris Dovan, having an absolutely superb start. One of the few big-name veterans that Denny Green decided to keep here after letting go the likes of Keith Millard, sending him into trade. Joey Browner let go. Wade Wilson let go. And Sean Salisbury, the inexperienced backup, at the helm. We'll get one last pass off to Terry Allen. And that'll do it for the first half of play. That's the end of the first half. Tampa Bay leads it 13-7. Greg and Terry coming up next from New York.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. And by Payne Weber, we believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships.
Into the third quarter in Atlanta, the Falcons, on a touchdown pass from Chris Miller to Mike Pritchard, lead the New Orleans Saints. The Saints failed to score on a first-and-goal situation. Took them 4 tries. They didn't get it into the end zone. And Christmas in September, Terry Vision for the second time today. Son of a gun.
Don't you just love this stuff? I do get to play with the board here. Let me show you what happened, folks. This is a goal line offense. You're going to see as we pop it up there. Tight end. I'm going to do this fast. Tight end, 3 tight ends. Here's your fullback, Hayward. Here's your tailback, Dalton Hilliard. This man, fullback, will read this safety, and then if this safety comes across to the outside, Hayward will kick him out, and then Hilliard cuts inside. But if he comes inside, then the fullback kicks him down, and now Hilliard goes to the outside. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Well, there comes your safety up to the outside. Hold it right there. Now, this is a great block. He sees him outside. He kicks him out. But this man, Dalton Hilliard, already has committed to the outside. Bad job here. If he just slows it down, he would have kicked inside off the block of Haywood, and they would have had the touchdown.
All right, Terry, the New Orleans Saints have moved to the Atlanta 6-yard line now in the early moments of the third quarter, but they still trail the Falcons by a score of 7-0. Meanwhile, moving on down the scoreboard, the New York Jets at home against the 49ers are getting whomped. It's 24-0 San Francisco. The 49ers have lost John Taylor to a broken left leg in this game. The game you are watching, Tampa Bay and Minnesota, the Bucs lead at 13-7. In Lambeau Field in Green Bay, third quarter now, the Bengals looking to start the season 3-0. They lead Green Bay 10-3. Houston in the third quarter, trailing Kansas City 13-6. Warren Moon has thrown 2 interceptions against the Chiefs this afternoon. And in New England, the Patriots are still looking to get on the scoreboard for the first time this year. They were shut out last week, and Seattle leads at 7-0 at halftime. Now, remember, this is a doubleheader day of NFL action here on CBS. Coming up, some of you will see Phoenix against Dallas or the Rams against Miami. Most of you will see a rematch of last season's NFC Championship game when Detroit takes on Washington. Pat Summerall and John Madden are together again in one of their favorite places, RFK Stadium, with more on the game.
Well, you know, the trips to Washington for the Detroit Lions have been unpleasant ones. They are 0-16 in Washington against the Redskins. In fact, the last time they beat them anywhere was in October of 1965. LBJ was the president. Sound of Music was the best picture, and Hang On Sloopy was the #1 song of the week. And Wayne Font said to us, we just got to put all that behind us and go out and play today.
Well, and the big thing that they have to do is not have turnovers. They were beaten twice by big scores last year, one in a championship. And what they did in both games, they had turnovers early. The Redskins got the ball and made scores out of them. Wayne Font said, if we do nothing else, we'd just like to get through the first quarter without having a turnover.
And, John, the Redskins don't appear to be the dominant team that they were at the end of last year.
Well, they're not in sync yet, Pat, and I think they're going to be a better team a month from now than they are right now. But as Joe Gibbs says, to play Redskin football, he said, we have to run and be able to stop the run. Now, that's not going to be as easy as it was the last time they played because Jerry Ball is a nose tackle today. He didn't play last time. Mike Kofer is the outside linebacker, so it's going to be tougher to run on him. Then you talk about stopping the run. We know who we're playing here. I mean, they're playing against Barry Sanders, who Joe Gibbs says there are good players, there are great players, and there are phenoms. Barry Sanders is a phenom.
We look forward to watching. Now back to Greg and Terry.
Pat and John, thanks very much. This update on a score for you at Atlanta. The New Orleans Saints have just gotten on the board. Bobby Hebert to Quinn Early, an 11-yard touchdown pass pending the extra point. It's 7-6 Falcons, and the NFL Today will continue here on CBS after this from your local station.
Here at halftime at the Metrodome, the new look Tampa Bay Buccaneers out on top of the Minnesota Vikings 13-7. And the story in the first half has been the quarterbacks in more ways than one. Rich Gannon led Minnesota on its opening possession to a touchdown drive, but he was knocked out of play. You can take a look at him holding that right hand. He did stay in there to complete a touchdown drive, but he's been out. Testaverde likewise hit hard on that right throwing forearm by Henry Thomas. Testaverde went out in the first half. We don't know whether he will return, but the story has been Steve DeBerg, who's come on in relief, and he's taken Tampa to the lead by 6. We'll be back with more of our second half activities after this.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. Chrysler Corporation and your local Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers. And by Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price.
Go, Big Tim, let's go!
Tampa Bay, NFC Central Division leading Buccaneers on top of Minnesota 13-7. And the first half, a defensive battle. Tampa Bay with 10 first downs to 5 of Minnesota. Both quarterbacks getting hit an awful lot, and you see the quarterback sacks. But the story really, George, has been how Tampa has been able to weather the quarterback hits. Tampa comes back with an experienced guy in Steve DeBerg, and he's been the story of the first half.
Well, Steve DeBerg is probably the difference in this ball game, is that both defenses are playing well. They're playing aggressive. They're getting a lot of hits on the quarterback. I think that Steve DeBerg, being the more experienced backup, can run this Tampa offense. I think he could probably run the Minnesota offense.
Minnesota would like to have him doing that, I'm sure.
You know, I think that Sean Salisbury is just a little too inexperienced to pull out a big game when you're playing against a charged-up defense and you're coming from behind.
Okay, if you're thinking and you're Minnesota, recognizing that Rich Gannon is going to be out of action more than likely the rest of the half, what are you thinking if you're the Minnesota defense?
If you're the Minnesota defense, you're thinking we've got to win this game ourselves. That the offense hasn't done much since Rich Gannon has been out, so the defensive ball players are thinking we've got to intercept the pass and run it in. We've got to pick up a fumble and run it in. We may have to win this game ourselves. And you know who else is thinking that? The special teams. Right now, there are 3 phases of a football team: offense, defense, and special teams. If one phase is down and for whatever reason cannot compete properly on that day, the other 2 phases have got to raise the level of their play. So in that locker room, punt team, punt return, kickoff returns, those teams are going to try to up the level of their play, as is the defense.
We saw the graphic detailing the story of the backup quarterbacks. DeBerg winning it hands down, 8 for 8, 94 yards and a touchdown. Salisbury 4 of 9 for 38 yards. Juan Rivez kicking off for Minnesota. Gary Anderson back deep for the Bucs. Anderson 5 yards deep, decides to bring it out. And Anderson hit hard. And there's a special teams play that George Stark was referring to. A lot of that will be needed as Anderson is dropped at about the 12. Leading the charge was Ray Berry, number 50.
And that's number 91. We know Greg Minuski. We spoke about him earlier. Plan B acquisition from the Washington Redskins. Special team maniac. Loves to cover those kicks. You got to be a little bit flaky to like to cover kicks, JP.
And you know what? Minuski loves that too, to be referred to that way.
He lives for it. I hated it.
Ball at the 13. 1st and 10 for the Bucs. On the ground, Reggie Cobb, and Cobb ahead for 2. Steve DeBerg still at the helm for the Buccaneers. Again, last report, Vinny Testaverde had a bruised right forearm. Lost sensation there. So DeBerg has come on. 2nd and 8. DeBerg getting his house in order. Trips right formation. And gets rid of it and nearly throws an interception right into the hands of Mike Merriweather. DeBerg felt the heat coming from his backside.
He gets a near hit. That's Jack Del Rio putting the pressure on, who pulls up at the last minute. Oh, that's wrong. It's Al Noga who gets the hit. Steve DeBerg delivers the ball. It's a near interception, but it's as we spoke. The defense is thinking they're going to try to make something happen.
First incompletion for DeBerg this afternoon. 3rd and 8. DeBerg, incomplete intended receiver was Carrier. Carrier screaming, thinking he was interfered with. And Carl Lee, the crafty veteran, 10th year out of Marshall, was right there with him. Carl Lee certainly is a guy who has stored up an awful lot of knowledge in terms of how to defend receivers.
Absolutely. Mark Carrier was saying that Carl Lee actually tackled him. We spoke with Carl Lee and, as a matter of fact, asked him what actually are the rules of what's interference and what's not. He said he didn't know. Very, very much a gray area, so you just go for it.
Dan Straczynski on to punt. Anthony Parker back deep for the Vikes. And this is a high one. And Parker, as a result, signals for the fair catch at the Vikings 42. It'll be marked at the 43. So Minnesota will take over 1st and 10. That was a 43-yard punt. So take a look at Carl Lee. And Carl Lee was really a book of knowledge in talking about being a cornerback.
Let's take a look at Carl Lee. That's him in the center of your screen on Mark Carrier. He makes the tackle. It looks like his timing was right. Mark Carrier doesn't think so, but the officials obviously agreed with Carl Lee.
Carl Lee thinking about a career in broadcasting.
He speaks very well. He could easily be in broadcasting.
1st and 10. Carter in motion. Sean Salisbury hands off to Anthony Carter. And Anthony Carter takes it up near the 50. A run of 6 by AC. Anthony Carter making his 100th start of his Minnesota career.
That's a very interesting play. Usually when a wide receiver gets the ball in a play like that, it's a reverse, but that wasn't a reverse. Anthony Carter just came from way outside and took the handoff and turned it up.
2nd and 4. Hassan Jones to the near side. 3 wide receivers, and it's thrown complete to Hassan Jones for the 1st down. Paul Mahler, as he's known by his mates, stopped by Darryl Pollard, but not before he gains 10 on the play. So you mentioned that the game plan would be simplified for Salisbury, looking pretty sharp in this series anyway.
Absolutely. Tampa's going to be in a deep zone. They've got the lead. They're not going to give up any big plays. They're going to give him these little flat passes. He's just got to take them.
At that time, you can see a clear case of happy feet on the part of Salisbury. Fake right, look back to the left, but boy, were those feet dancing.
The feet were dancing, and he had Anthony Carter in the flat. He should have just delivered the ball. This is Sean Salisbury. Let's take a look at those happy feet. He's looking right, looks left. You got to stay in there. Don't be nervous. Deliver that ball to the flat. He had Anthony Carter in the flat.
George, easy for you to say now. You know, if you saw a guy like you coming at you, you would have happy feet. Draw plays to Allen. And Allen. Good second effort by Terry Allen as he gets down near the 1st down. A 9-yard run will bring up a 3rd and 1, and this guy only is 5'10", 197, but he runs hard.
He runs hard, and he's not the shifty water bug kind of back. He kind of beats you by shifting gears. He runs in one speed. When you're about to tackle him, he speeds up or he slows down. He's a breakaway back. Given a little opening, he can go all the way. That's what they need on this offense. Short passes to the flat, hand the ball to Terry Allen.
Say he's not a good cut guy, but a good change of pace guy. We saw it that time. 3rd and 1 in Tampa territory. This is Allen. Flag on a play as Allen runs for the 1st down, but we'll see what the call is. Is that a holding call? Usually is the case in that area. And that looks to go against Minnesota.
Once again, as we spoke earlier, a lot of drives for Minnesota this week and last have been stopped 5 penalties.
Holding, number 63, offense, 10 yards, third down.
That's number 63, Kirk Loudermilk in the center. He's got Wheeler hooked. Wheeler, big number 77. Loudermilk hooked him with that right arm. I guess we'll have to call that holding.
5th penalty of the game against the Vikings. 5 penalties for 40 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 11. Salisbury drills it complete for the first down to Hassan Jones as he beat Darryl Pollard and company. So Salisbury looks to be getting a little more confidence, a little more comfortable as he drills that one, a 17-yard pass play.
That's Hassan Jones, number 84, the man in motion. He just heads up field, a little curl, comes back to the quarterback. Good protection, good delivery, good reception.
I'd say good delivery, pinpoint, and a mix-up that time on the running play as Salisbury bumps into Terry Allen. Not the way Denny Green and company and Jack Burns drew that one up.
That, of course, is the problem of having an inexperienced quarterback in the game. He doesn't get a chance to run the offense in practice. He would be running the defensive plays, so you don't get the reps. In that case, he turned the wrong way, ran into the running back, 28, Terry Allen, number 21.
There's Denny Green, first-year head coach of the Vikes. Complete to Chris Carter. First down. Out of bounds at about the 7.
That's number 80, Chris Carter. He gets it past the crossing pattern up top by Anthony Carter, clears out that flat. The ball delivered in the flat. This is the kind of pass you want with a young quarterback. Throw the simple pass to the flat. Let your athletes run with the football. Throw a 5-yard pass, let them run for 15.
First and goal at the 7. 2 tight end formation. On the ground, Terry Allen. Allen. No signal yet as he gets down near the 1. Terry Allen again showing that change of pace move that he has. 10 carries, 29 yards for Terry Allen.
Terry Allen certainly is a breakaway speed back, but let's not take anything away from him inside. When he has to put his head down and get that extra yard or 2, he certainly will do it, as we have just seen.
2nd and goal. Ball at the 1. Allen, touchdown, Minnesota. Second rushing touchdown of the season for Allen.
Terry Allen going over the top. Exposing your body, jumping up and going over the top. This is exactly what Minnesota needs. Takes the pressure off the young quarterback. Short passes in the flat, and a good running back.
And a good point after by Juan Rivez. And Minnesota regains the lead by 1. Vinny Testaverde chomping at the bit to get back in the game. The NFL's 3rd-rated quarterback. And DeBerg has the hat on and the chart back in his hands. Usually a sign that he's going to be back in the backup role, and Testaverde may be back in there.
Yeah, it's the old clipboard in the hand, I'm the second quarterback look. No doubt about that. Plus, Vinny Testaverde has taken his bandage off his right arm.
All indicators. Well, DeBerg knew that his role here was to be as a backup. We'll see if that holds. Juan Rivez, as he boots this one back, will not be returned. Touchback. Tampa Bay will bring it out to its own 20. Well, they were all indicators, but as we said, speculation only, or certainly implied. DeBerg back at the helm. Bucks trailing 14-13, 9:22 left in the third period of play. Tampa Bay in this game with a 2-0 mark, sitting atop the NFC Central Division. Minnesota with a record of 1-1, tied for second place. Dorsey to the near side. Highsmith, the lone back. And a flag on a play to stop it as Dolman tries to pull himself and cut his speed off at the last second.
And that's gamesmanship, JB. He knew the flag was down. He knew it was no play, but it's just a way of telling the quarterback, I'm coming. Expect me at any time.
So it's a 1st and 15 for the Bucks. Ball moved back to the 15. Berg telling his guys to watch the center as he gets rid of it to Hall, and Hall is gang tackled.
DeBerg got this pass off, but look at the rush. We've got Chris Dolman coming from the outside. Looks at Henry Thomas from the inside. Look, he is buried under a wave of purple on the end zone line.
Complete to Hall, and Hall is going to be shy about a yard of the first down. Carl Lee on the stop will bring up a 3rd and 1 for Tampa. 8:27 and counting left in the third period of play. San Francisco blowing out the Jets, 31-zip. Cobb, first down, Tampa Bay. Reggie Cobb running hard to the right. And he has enough for the first down.
Alonzo Highsmith, when he's in the up back position, always is the lead blocker. Steve DeBerg is going to turn and hand. The thing is, the defense knows when Alonzo Highsmith is up, it's a run. That he's going to run, he's going to be the lead blocker. And he is.
Back to live action on the ground again. Cobb, the ball carrier, a loss of 1 that time on the play.
There's Sam Weiss, a little bit concerned. His team down 1. He needs a drive. He needs to use up time and put some points on the board.
2nd and 11. Andre McMillan all over top of Mark Carrier. McMillan and Carrier both listed at 6 feet apiece. McMillan showing his leaping ability that time. Well, Denny Green's defense really has been superb this season. His guys have risen to the task and executed the defense well. None better in terms of display defensively than last week in shutting down Barry Sanders, holding him to 66 yards.
They certainly did. And the emphasis on speed and position and staying in their lanes worked very well for them.
3rd and 11. 3 wideouts for the Bucks. DeBerg slips. Dolman hits him as he lets it go. Dolman hurrying DeBerg, and the Minnesota hits on quarterbacks continues.
Steve DeBerg stumbled coming out from under the center on that. That's Mayberry. He probably tripped on the center's foot. He took a hit. He might have taken that hit regardless of the stumble, but the stumble certainly threw him off rhythm.
Straczynski on to punt as a result of that bad rhythm. Parker back deep for the Vikings at his own 28. Doubtful if Sam will come up with a trick here. And Greg Monusky was pointing to the play clock, saying that time had expired, and indeed it did.
JB, Minnesota has certainly raised the level of their intensity, and I believe it began with that kickoff when we spoke of the special teams will try to win it, defense will try to win it, that they set the tone on that opening kickoff, which is carried over into the defense and carried over into the offense. The offense for Minnesota is playing better this quarter.
14th penalty of the ball game between the two teams. Parker fair catches it at the 37. 6:40 left in the third. Tampa Bay trailing by 1. 14-13 ball game. Minnesota on top. 6:40 left in the third period of play. James Brown along with George Stark. And as we take a look at Rich Gannon, knocked out of the game after the opening drive of the contest. He's on the right, Salisbury on the left. The backup quarterback has been in there. Getting better as the game wears on. Salisbury, play action. Salisbury dumps it to Terry Allen. And Allen, first down, and a lot more.
Good play by Sean Salisbury. Surrounded by a lot of professionals who are highly skilled. Let them help you. Short pass to Terry Allen. Terry Allen picks up major yardage. You don't have to go downfield, make big plays. His offensive line's out there. Terry Allen is a fine running back. Let him do what he does best.
First and 10. Allen looking for a hole as he eats ahead for a couple. Tackled by Broderick Thomas. Terry Allen doesn't look to be very big, but again, listening to all of his teammates, they say he is a hard-running, punishing type of runner for his size.
He's not the classic big back that Jack Burns wants for this offense, but he certainly is doing the job today.
4 wideouts on second down. And Allen. Hard-earned yardage here.
Tough yardage in there. That's big number 77, Mark Wheeler. Tough yardage.
Rushing leaders coming into the game today. You see Emmitt Smith of Dallas up top. Terry Allen, 5th in the NFC. Trailing by 2 yards, one known as Barry Sanders. 3rd and 7. 3 wideouts. Steve Jordan in motion. Salisbury throws it for the first down to Hassan Jones. Hassan Jones, a 13-yard pass play. His 3rd catch of the afternoon. Not many thrown his way, but they've been very effective.
That's Hassan Jones, split wide on the bottom of your screen. It's a straight one-on-one. It's Sean Salisbury read it right. They've got man-to-man coverage at the top of your screen, zone coverage at the bottom. Hassan Jones pushes upfield, comes back, easy pass, easy catch, good read by the quarterback.
1st and 10 from the 30, 4:17 left. Roger Craig, and Roger Craig driven back hard that time by Santana Dotson. You know, Floyd Peters, in explaining to us about his over-under defensive philosophy, said that under tackle, in this case Santana Dotson, is a guy, and he used it in football terms, I'd like to be a thug. Well, if he calls Dotson a thug, he's a very polished thug.
Dotson is such a well-spoken football player to play the official thug position.
Touchdown, Minnesota, Chris Carter.
Beautiful catch by Chris Carter. Fine read and pass by Sean Salisbury.
Minnesota has moving out further in front thanks to the hands of Chris Carter. Vikings on top 21-13. Salisbury getting more comfortable as the game wears on.
When you're Super Bowl champs, every team and their mother is out to get you. So heads up, Redskins. These Lions are hungry. It's one of the doubleheader games next. I'm a big fan.
Sean Salisbury has every reason to be smiling right now. In the first half, he was 4 of 9 for 38 yards. He's 6 of 7 in the second half, 103 yards, and his first NFL touchdown. And Salisbury, confidence growing. Anderson from the 4. Flag on a play as Jake Reed drops Gary Anderson, but flags are everywhere.
Looks like it's against Tampa, JB. That's going to really put them in the hole.
Block in the back. Number 47, half the distance. First down.
Well, an especially loud cheer because that was, guess who? Joey Browner, the ex-Viking. The crowd got a kick out of that, as did Salisbury.
This is Chris Carter in the slot. He simply a little outstep and upfield and splits the seam of the zone. This is the classic split in the seam. It's a seam pass. Right between Darrell Fullington and Pollard. The thing about that ball is it's got to be delivered perfectly or it won't work. It was delivered perfectly.
There's Jack Burns in the middle of your screen, sitting to the left of Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator. Jack Burns, a quarterback in high school himself, 1966. Guess where? Back in Tampa, Florida. And that's where his father, Salty Burns, 37 years as a football coach. Jack Burns liking what he's seeing now. Ball is at the 4, first and 10 for the Bucks. Flag on a play as Cobb gets ahead for a yard or two. No gain is where it's spotted.
Crowd noise could certainly be a factor here, JB.
Not only no gain on the play based on where they have it spotted, but holding against Tampa.
There's only two things you can do when you're backed up to the 1-yard line. You can run the ball or you can throw a pass for 99 yards.
Holding number 61, offense. The penalty is declined. Second down.
So it'll be second and 10 from the 4. That penalty called on Mayberry. Play action. Alonzo Highsmith. No gain on the play.
That Minnesota defense is fired up. What they're thinking right now is if you can get a turnover and run it in the end zone, that's great. If not, keep them backed up, make them punt out of the end zone. You could either A, block the punt, or get a return and put the offense in perfect position to score again.
Crucial third down for the Bucks. 3rd and 10 from the 4. Delayed to Anderson. Shy of the first down. Vincey Glenn on the tackle. Tampa will have to punt.
That's what Sam White doesn't want to to do. He doesn't want to have to give the ball back to Minnesota. Minnesota has sensed the momentum shift. They're playing better on offense. Young quarterback Sean Salisbury is going larger and larger before our very eyes. All of a sudden, he's not a disadvantage. He can throw to the flat. He can complete the ball downfield. Parker. 40-yard punt, 2-yard return. The ebb and flow of an NFL contest back in favor of Minnesota. And there's Floyd Peters. He's trying to get it back. George, could this guy be a head coach? I mean, he's been doing it defensively for years. He could certainly be a head coach. He's turned around so many teams and franchises. And he's a guy that just loves it. Look at the smile on his face. He's behind, but he loves being in the thick of it. Old warrior, Floyd Peters.
Not unusual to have his squads lead the league in sacks. Did it at San Francisco, Detroit, Minnesota. Salisbury. Flag on a play as Anthony Carter was being defended by Milton Mack. I wonder if it was face guarding.
Number 21 defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
It was on Milton Mack, the 6th-year player out of Alcorn State, ex-New Orleans Saint player.
Let's take a look. It's at the top of the screen. This is the player. He's going up. Look at one thing nice about the quarterback also. Know how happy feet delivers the ball up. Officials call it interference.
First and 10, Craig. And Roger Craig tackled by Jimmy Williams. No gain on the play. Jimmy Williams has really been a strong addition to this Tampa defense. An 11th-year veteran out of Nebraska, brings a lot of intelligence and leadership skills.
Absolutely. Not only that, he's the second Nebraska guy we got. Roger Thomas being the other.
1:08 left in the third period of play. Minnesota leading 21-13. A bootleg by Sean Salisbury, and throws it at the feet of Roger Craig as Roderick Thomas says, "Young man, welcome to the NFL." But it has been a remarkable turnaround for Sean Salisbury from the first half to the second half. The numbers embellish the point.
Absolutely, and he doesn't have that nervous pitter-patter of the feet either. Look at Floyd. Floyd Peters, he's in this game.
You said he likes to be in the thick of the action.
He likes to be in the thick of it. Old warrior.
3rd and 10. Salisbury with time, drills it complete to Chris Carter. And Chris Carter is going to be shy about 3 yards of what was necessary for the first down. That's the kind of play that Floyd Peters does get excited about when he sees his defense put the stops on. There he is. He still lifts weights every day. Floyd Peters.
Says he has to be in shape.
And is Minnesota going to go for it? Up at the play clock being run down, as well as the game clock. And a timeout called by Minnesota, leaving the Vikings with 2. Tampa has its full complement of 3. Coming up next for most of you, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship when the Lions traveled to RFK. And certainly most of you recall that it was indeed showtime for the Redskins. Detroit definitely has payback on its mind. That'll be coming up next on Doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. LA Rams at Miami, Phoenix at Dallas for others. 4th down, 4th and 3. 8 seconds left in the quarter. Salisbury throws it. Was it complete? It was an excellent job by Anthony Carter keeping his feet in bounds.
JB, that was an all-pro play. Keeping his feet in bounds. The ball was thrown a little bit wide. He had to go wide to keep his feet in bounds to make the play good. That's what being an all-pro receiver is about. Sean Salisbury.
With that catch,
excited. He's throwing with every catch, every throw.
Anthony Carter is now 13 yards shy, receiving yards shy of becoming the all-time pass receiving leader for the Vikings. That's the end of the third quarter with the score: Minnesota 21, Tampa 13. Our coverage will continue after this. (21-13), Vikes on top, start of the fourth quarter. There's Anthony Carter, 13 yards shy of setting the new Vikings all-time receiving yards record. And there's Roger Craig. He's got a few records already to his credit. And that was an excellent run. Let's check back in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JV, at the Meadowlands, the Jets trying to travel the comeback trail. Ken O'Brien scrambles in the backfield and then finds Rob Carpenter's 7-yard touchdown pass, but it's 31-7 with just over 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, JV.
All right, Greg, so even with John Taylor injured, 49ers still enjoying a huge buffer. And boy, does Roger Craig put on a clinic whenever he runs. Enough that time for the first down. Roger Craig with 8 carries for 30 yards, and he's giving the team exactly what Denny Green wants from him.
You know, he always seems to give the team a lift also. Perhaps it's his veteran experience and his history of Super Bowl performance, but whatever, he makes the guys around him play better, and it raises everybody's level of performance.
1st and 10 from the 12 as we start the fourth quarter play. Minnesota on top, 21-13, and Craig slowed up in the backfield that time by Keith McCants. And McCants did an excellent job of keeping Craig from gaining any yardage on that play.
This play is very similar to the counter tray as run by the Washington Redskins. Well defensed that time.
Roderick Thomas had the tackle. McCants put the pressure on him. McCants, an undersized defensive end who's made it known clearly that he knows he's undersized. 2nd and 10. Salisbury with heat from Thomas. That's a sack. And Salisbury holding that left arm, which is limp, as Broderick Thomas picks up yet another sack. 3 sacks.
That's Broderick Thomas coming from the left side of your screen. Just simply beats the block. Good sack. Quarterbacks have certainly taken a hit today. A lot of hits. A lot of hits on the quarterbacks.
3rd and 17. Hassan Jones in motion. And you can tell that Salisbury is thinking, and he's still carrying that left arm in very ginger fashion.
He is. The only good news about something like that is it's not his passing arm. He's right-handed. Look at the quarterback hits today. Tampa Bay 26. A total of 45 hits on the quarterbacks. You know, some say these guys make a lot of money, and some folks back home think they make too much money, but they certainly take a lot of punishment for it.
This will be a 37-yarder by Fuad Rivez. And Rivez boots it through. It's now 24-13 Minnesota, 13-15 left in the game. (24-13) Minnesota on top. Vikings trying to move their record to 2-1. 13-15 left in the fourth quarter of play. So take a look at Brad Johnson, the rookie out of Florida State, who's inactive for this game. But if Salisbury gets injured or is injured, then he is the emergency quarterback and he can come in. But Salisbury, I'm sure he doesn't want to give up this opportunity at all.
I think you'd have to probably shoot Salisbury to get him out of there today. He's really come on in the second half, and it's a dream for a new quarterback when you first start, bring your team from behind.
Brad Johnson backed up Casey Weldon at Florida State last year, which meant he also played with Terrell Buckley, #1 draft pick of the Green Bay Packers. Taken at the 3 by Gary Anderson. A flag on the play as Gary Anderson is driven out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. Dante Whitaker pushed him out of bounds, but there is a flag on the play. And that goes against Tampa. Thus far in the ball game, as we take a look, Rich Gannon, as we mentioned, went out after the opening drive, which was a successful one, a touchdown drive for Minnesota. Minnesota 17 unanswered points, and Salisbury has come in on relief, gotten better along the way, and threw his first professional touchdown to Chris Carter. And Minnesota out in front, 24-13. That man there, Steve DeBerg, has been hit a number of times as well. 1st and 10 from the 9. 4 wide receivers for the Bucks. And Chris Dolman gets an early jump, maybe too soon, as 3 flags are dropped on the field.
Like this, where the crowd noise is a factor, you're behind, you're playing against a pass rusher like Chris Dolman, who's going to take every bit of the ball he can and try to get a jump if he can. He doesn't even mind if he's a little early, he'll take the penalty. What it does is it makes that offensive tackle very skittish and jumpish. So he tends to leave a little early. That's what happened.
Complete to Anderson. Anderson with a huge run. Gary Anderson, the nimble-footed one, takes it up about 2 yards shy. And there's a down player in the end zone there. Looks like Henry Thomas. Gary Anderson on that play looked like he may have gotten the 14 yards needed. We'll see where the spot is, and in the meantime, take a look at Henry Thomas as he grabs that right leg of his. And we'll try to get a report on the condition of Henry Thomas, the 60-year player out of LSU, as quickly as we can.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, builders of fine automobiles since 1886. The people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. And by Miller Reserve, taste what barley does for beer.
It's a big house party here in the Dome. And the reason for the excitement, Vikings on top, 24-13. One guy had to leave the party, but at least under his own power, Henry Thomas, as he goes over to recuperate. Meanwhile, back out on the dance floor, Tampa with 2nd and inches. The ball was spotted about 5 inches shy of the first down marker. 2nd and inches. Ball at the 18.
Nice run by Gary Anderson, usually with 2nd inches.
intercepted by Minnesota's Carl Lee. First interception of the season for Lee.
The Bird was trying to throw the ball to number 80, Lawrence Dawsey. Dawsey got held up at the line of scrimmage, thrown off stride a little bit, was not where he was supposed to be. Interception. A little timing pattern. Steve was just supposed to look to the right, hit Lawrence Dawsey in the flat. He gets held up and doesn't get out, gets thrown off stride. Just a timing pattern with the timing thrown off.
Back to live action, the pitch for Terry Allen, and Terry Allen, first down, Minnesota. Yard scamper by Allen, tackled finally by Calvin Tiggle. 11:50 and counting left in the game. Minnesota on the drive.
Terry Allen takes the ball to the right. Nice cutback. It looks as though this big Minnesota offensive line is starting to wear down Tampa's interior defensive line. Not as much action as we used to have from him.
Allen, yet another first down. 12 yards again. Floyd Peters not liking what he sees. Allen 14 carries for 56 yards. And Tampa calls timeout. Bucks and Vikings with 2 each remaining. Terry Allen has been getting a lot of help on his drives. Some he's created on his own.
I think we're in a situation where the big Minnesota offensive line is finally starting to wear down Tampa's defensive line. You've got these big tackles and guards beating on you, beating on you, beating on you. You got to fight off the block, and you have to chase the running back, and they look a little bit winded right now.
Chris Carter and Anthony Carter to the near side. Allen, the lone back, and the ball carrier. Allen is running hog wild on this drive. And Floyd Peters cannot like what he's seen.
He wants to rally his troops. He needs to get them going. They need something to get him an emotional lift to get him back in this game. This is Jack Burns running that 2 tight end offense. You got to lead. You just want to beat on him and beat on him. It's like beat him with a dull instrument. At the same time, you control the clock.
9 yards gained on the play brings up a 2nd and 1. Ball at the 8. George in motion. Allen, the ball carrier. I don't know. Let's see where they spot it. He's close. And it looks, according to the spot, that it may be it. Reggie Burnett on the stop. Bob McElwee calls a referee's timeout for a measurement as you take a look at Denny Green. And again, we really haven't seen very much in the way of demonstrative action from him.
Mr. Expression, Denny Green. You know, JB, here,
first down, Minnesota.
Denny Green might have preferred it not be a first down. That way they could use up some more clock. 2nd and inches, they could have had 3rd down, could have had a 4th down before they got the first down, used up even more of the clock. Now it's first down, they've got to go forward into the end zone.
Bet you one thing he would like, though, another touchdown, something this guy wouldn't like. 1st and goal, ball at the 6, 10:03 left in the 3rd. Allen inside the 5, Minnesota leading 24-13. James Brown along with George Stark. And a battle of 2 teams looking to get a winning tradition established. Not a sellout here in the Metrodome. First blackout in the Minneapolis area since 1989. But if these Vikings can show forth, the fans will be here.
With the clock becoming a factor, you'll see the offensive linemen get up very slow and walk slowly to the line of scrimmage, using as much clock as possible.
Allen on the ground again. steps inside and gets down to about the 1. Terry Allen, nice change of pace, and I continue to use that. You don't see him really cutting hard like a Barry Sanders, but he does change pace, change of direction good.
This is a nice cut back inside. He starts out to the right. Once again, it's late in the game, so these guys are tired of it, who are chasing. Nice cut, avoids the play outside, cuts back inside, picks up 3 yards. Some backs get stronger as the game gets longer. Terry Allen is one of those guys.
Randall McDaniel has reported as an eligible receiver. Shaded to the left side in the backfield. Allen, the ball carrier. No signal yet. A little bobbling of the ball, nearly fumbled. And Sean Salisbury wants to go for it. So it'll be a 4th down and goal.
The ball has got to get across the plane. It's got to break the plane. He almost drops it. He has the presence of mind to pull that ball in, but it looks like a touchdown from here.
I tell you, and without instant replay, it won't be reversed, but the fans here saw it up on the big screen, and that was a touchdown.
That was most clearly a touchdown, JB.
No signal yet. And it appears that Tampa Bay, with a big defensive stand, stops Minnesota. And it will be Tampa ball. Sean Salisbury wanted to go for it. Tampa stopped it.
You got to get movement. The offense has got to push the defensive line into the end zone in order for a sweep to work. Also, young Sean Salisbury needs to work on that play. That's Floyd Peters. Big play by his guys.
1st and 10. Ball at the 1 of Tampa. Back to the 1. Stanford Jennings. Jack Del Rio breathing in the face of DeBerg.
Look at this rush up the gut. Somebody made a mistake. That's Jack Del Rio. Almost had DeBerg for a safety, but DeBerg, like the veteran he is, got rid of the ball.
2nd and 10. Incomplete.
That ball could have been intercepted. Steve DeBerg, I don't believe, could really see his guy downfield. He threw the ball expecting the receiver to be there. In fact, he wasn't.
7:18 left in the game. Sam Wyche's troops trailing by 11, 24-13. This is 3rd and 10. And DeBerg calls timeout. Tampa has 1 left. Minnesota with 2 remaining. Prior to this, George, you and I were talking about how this really would be a good defensive battle. Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, a real low-key kind of a guy, but a bookworm and academician if ever there was one.
And you would have to say would be the exact opposite were you to look at it, or, you know, from Floyd Peters, Mr. Demonstrative, the old warrior that he is that Tony Dungy is very cerebrally, very professorial. You're right, JB.
There's Tony Dungy in the middle with the glasses. Stints at Pittsburgh, of course, Kansas City, and he's gone against Floyd Peters a number of times. Coming up next, for most of you, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship. Of course, was when the Lions went to RFK. The Lions have yet to win there, 0-15 against the Skins. This is 3rd and 10 from the 1. intercepted. Touchdown, Minnesota. Van Waiters.
Great defensive pressure.
Did they credit him with the safety or a touchdown on that? A safety it is. That was a signal, a safety.
Here's the bird dropping back. They're saying he's in the grass. He doesn't look to be in the grass to me. He's either in the grass, perhaps he stepped on the end zone, on the back of the end zone.
And that's the reason for the safety, because he went out of the end zone. Had he stayed in the end zone, it would have been a touchdown, but in fact, it's a safety. Boy, good camera work to bring that one up. Van Waiters is very upset because he wanted the touchdown. Instead, a sack for Dolman. Take a look at DeBerg's foot.
This is
That was
DeBerg
the
as he
key.
drops back. He's trying to elude the sack, and there he clearly steps out of bounds behind the end zone. That's a safety. It's an odd circumstance where you really have, he also takes a wallop. Odd circumstance where you'd rather have a safety, in this case, than the interception for the touchdown.
I tell you what, all except in the mind of Van Waiters, who wanted the touchdown. A Minnesota day here at the Metrodome. 26-13. Vikings on top. 7-13 left in the contest. There's Van Waiters. Doggone it, nearly had myself a touchdown.
Almost had a TD, 7 points.
Well, guess
And an
what?
interception.
I'm going to take that highlight and run it back and tell the folks it was a TD. Dan Straczynski, the punter for the Bucks. Anthony Parker from the 25. And Parker takes it back to about the 28. So again, just by way of housework here, George, we can clean up a little bit. Steve DeBerg stepped on the out-of-bounds line, the end zone line, so it was credited as a sack for Chris Dolman. And Minnesota comes away with 2 points instead of the touchdown and 7. Roger Craig, the lone back. 1st and 10 from the 39. And Craig ahead for 2 hard-earned yards.
With a little less than 7 minutes left in the game, it's safe to say you're going to see the ground troops come out now, the infantry. Ball control, use the clock, try to end it on this drive. Minnesota's thinking probably 3 or 4 first downs and it's over. Tampa knows this, they've got to stop the run.
Both Carters to the near side. Salisbury going for Chris Carter, overthrows it. Now, Chris Carter can definitely leap, but he's going to go back and tell the young fellow, not quite that high.
Not quite that high.
Bring it down just a bit.
You know what? Steve DeBerg
Wants to be a coach when it's all over and done, Steve DeBerg, which is why he is and has been a coach's delight working with young quarterbacks.
He's actually older than the quarterback coach on the Tampa roster right now.
On 3rd and 8. Incomplete intended receiver was Anthony Carter. Ricky Reynolds was right there. So it's 3 and out.
That's a break for Tampa. I thought, as I said, that they would try to run the ball and use up more clock. They didn't. They elected to pass, threw 2 interceptions, and now Tampa will get the ball back. There's still plenty of time in this football game.
It's mighty big of you to bring it up.
Plenty of time. Tampa needs to get something going. They need some big plays, but they can do it. They got time.
Willie Drury back to receive this punt by Harry Newsom. think the abortion issue has turned angry, ugly, and violent. Wait until you see what the environmental issue has turned into tonight on 60 Minutes. Then it's the season premiere of Murder, She Wrote, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Terror on Track 9. And all be coming your way tonight on CBS. Philadelphia, boy, a meeting of two unbeatens, and Philadelphia controlling it. New Orleans takes it by 3 over Atlanta. San Francisco still comfortably ahead of the Jets. Green Bay trying to get its first victory of the season, all knotted up between Kansas City and Houston. And Chris Carter checking the scores as well. And these Bucks know they need 2 touchdowns to make it happen. Plenty of time with 6:18 left. Gary Anderson with a 10-yard run. First down. And don't forget, this same Minnesota squad was up by 17 against the Lions last year, and the Lions came back to win it. DeBerg to Anderson. And Anderson hog-tied by Carlos Jenkins. A 7-yard pass play from DeBerg to Anderson.
Minnesota has lost 9 games with a 4-quarter lead, so they can't afford to relax. You know, Tony Dungy's told him that.
Incomplete. Intended receiver was Lawrence Dawsey, who had it momentarily. And of course, those 9 games lost in the 4th quarter by the Vikings occurred over the past 2 seasons.
The flexibility of the no-huddle offense is that you can go to a hurry-up offense very easily. You simply run your plays faster. All game long, you've been coming out of the huddle, lining up on the line of scrimmage. So the transition to hurry up is very quick.
3rd and 3. 5:28 left in the game. DeBerg complete to Courtney Hawkins for a big first down in Minnesota territory. Ball spotted at the 41 of the Vikings. 5:13 remaining. Vikings on top, 26-13. DeBerg to Anderson. Anderson, first down, inside the 30. Now this is what Tampa runs in practice every day, so certainly they ought to be accustomed to this.
Absolutely, they're accustomed to it, and they're, as we can see, running it very well.
1st and 10 from the 28. DeBerg in and out of the hands of Courtney Hawkins. That should have been caught.
What Minnesota is thinking now is they're playing zone. They're dropping into the end zone. They don't want to give up a touchdown. They want those fast wide receivers to catch the ball in front of them. Then they want to come up, make the big hit, try to get a turnover by fumble, but whatever. They don't want to give up a quick touchdown pass. Only the short 5-yard passes, but don't miss the tackle.
2nd and 10 out of the shotgun. And DeBerg threw it in the direction of Courtney Hawkins and Mark Carrier.
DeBerg was lucky that wasn't picked off. He wasn't really looking, and he was off balance when he threw that pass. It's kind of throw and hope.
3rd and 10 from the 29. 4:37 remaining. The Bucks need 2 touchdowns. Anderson on the draw. First down inside the 15. Now, one of the obvious benefits Sam White has stressed of the no huddle, and especially when it's a quick moving one, is that you tire out the opposition. All of them are in shape, but it's a matter of how quickly they recover. DeBerg drills it. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Beautiful manipulation of the clock and the field by Steve DeBerg. Having a player like Gary Anderson gives you so much flexibility because you can run the ball. He's a threat to break at any time. The defense has got to play him. They come up, touchdown.
And give the credit to Lawrence Dawsey.
Nice delivery. Good defense. Sometimes a good offensive play will beat a defensive play. They were there. Well delivered by Steve DeBerg, the Dorsey touchdown.
And the point after is good. That was the first touchdown catch of the season by Lawrence Dorsey. And Tampa Bay, just that quickly, with the attack offense, has drawn within 6 of Minnesota.
There's Steve DeBerg. Brought his team back. The wily veteran shows that he's 38 years old. He's played a lot. But a touchdown in a circumstance like this is enough to get a guy excited.
Going back to a point that Tony Dungy made, very, very concerned about the wide receivers of Sam Wyche's squad because the lot of them, he says, are the best at running after the catch that he's seen, and that Gary Anderson on turf, while clearly not Barry Sanders, has Barry Sanders-like moves.
Well, he doesn't actually run exactly like Barry Sanders, but what he has in common with Barry Sanders is every time he touches the football, he feels he can go the length of the field, whatever amount of yards involved, and get the touchdown. The defense picks that up, and so it puts a lot of pressure on him. They have to come up and cover him, and it opens up your wide receivers.
Okay, now at this point in the game, 4:08 left. You think we've got to see an onside kick attempt by Tampa or not? I would think that certainly might be in the realm of the probable.
I think.
And you can see Minnesota anticipating it. And they do not. A flag on the play. We'll see if the Vikings accept or decline.
Receivers ball, 35-yard line.
So the ball will be at the 35.
On the touchdown, Lawrence Dorsey is in the slot. He simply comes down the field and curls up. Steve DeBerg has time to deliver the ball, and the crossing patterns will clear out that middle. Safety commits up. Touchdown.
The pitch to Allen. And Allen takes it up near the 40. A gain of 4 on the play, and somebody playing awfully hard there literally ran out of their shoe. That was Chris Carter.
Tampa Bay knows they've got to get the ball back. Their offense is clicking. They believe right now if they can stop Minnesota, they can get back in this football game.
2 timeouts remaining for Minnesota, 1 for Tampa. 3:30 left in the game, and Tampa trailing by only 6. Sean Salisbury, the quarterback who came on for the injured Rich Gannon after the first series, and has grown in confidence in the game. Allen. And Terry Allen ahead, up about 2 yards shy of the first down marker, a gain of 4, tackled by Calvin Tiggle. And Terry Allen doesn't even look winded. Mouthpiece still in his mouth. And a very big 3rd down coming up for Minnesota.
This, you know, again, there's so many plays in a football game, it's so difficult to point to one as being more critical than the other. But this is clearly one of the big downs of this football game. If Minnesota can get a first down here, they have a good chance that they can run the clock out and end the game. If Tampa can stop them, they'll get the ball back and an opportunity to go for the win.
I'd clearly say this is the most critical one of the game. Tampa with a timeout burn has none remaining. Minnesota still with 2. 3:04 left in the game. And don't forget, doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. Many of you will see Detroit at Washington. The Rams at Miami will be seen by others, along with Phoenix at Dallas. And Joe Bugle looking to try to gain a bit more job security if his team can win, but a mighty tall task in Dallas.
I think that Joe Bugle's job is probably on the line. It may not come after the Dallas game, since Dallas probably should win at home. But were he to lose to Dallas and lose in the following couple weeks, I think Joe's job may be gone.
Third and 2. Allen. First down, Minnesota.
First down.
.250 left in the game. 23 of 87, 23 carries, 87 yards for Terry Allen.
And of course, JB, when they had to have it, they went behind that big left side of Gary Zimmerman and Randy McDaniel. Nifty running by Allen. Very, very big play.
Ball at midfield. Clock will be stopped, of course, at the 2-minute mark, but Tampa Bay has no timeouts remaining. Allen, no gains, stopped at the line of scrimmage. Will bring up a 2nd and 10 as the clock winds down toward the 2-minute mark.
That's the Tampa bench. Those guys are a little bit down. They still have the jinx of it's now probably going to be 15 games. Lost in a row on the road.
We'll find out if that's the case. Still 2 minutes remaining, though. We'll be back after this. Minnesota with a 2nd and 10. 2 minutes left in the contest. And Denny Green talked with us clearly about what was going to be necessary to win this game. He said he had a candid, forthright discussion with this squad about what teams who are playoff caliber teams don't do.
Absolutely. No. Number one, they have to win at home. Another thing is they don't get penalties. They don't have turnovers.
Across midfield for a gain of 1, and then he also added to that list a couple of more.
He added that there are certain, you don't give up big plays on special teams like they did in Detroit last week. In addition to that, he also said he wanted to bring this Tampa team back down to earth. That in their division where they lose to Tampa, Tampa might become the Cinderella team that could get too far ahead in the division for them to catch. They want to bring Tampa back down to earth at the same time when at home.
I guess quite logically his final point was playoff teams always find a way to win. 3rd and 9 at the 49 of Tampa. 1:16 left in the game. The draw to Allen, and Allen nowhere to run nor hide. A loss of 1 on the play. So Tampa should get one more crack at it, and Sam White may dig deep into the bag of tricks. His squad has no timeouts remaining. So the hurry-up offense, the no-huddle hurry-up offense, will have to do just that, attack. Willie Drury back. A touchdown will tie it up. The point after will put Tampa up ahead, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not Denny Green has any tricks in his bag.
Well, Minnesota, of course, was running as much time off the clock as they could.
Smartly so.
They took the delay of game penalty. Ran the clock down to 23 seconds. Sam will get the ball back. No timeouts, 23 seconds. But teams have won in tougher situations, JB. It has been known to happen.
Well, the interesting thing to keep here, again, Tony Dungy making the point that Tampa's wide receivers are very problematic because they run so well after the catch. Now, you know Minnesota, if in fact it goes through with the punt here, will be playing a prevent defense, and the receivers are dangerous. We'll find out. Newsom to punt. And Drury signals for the fair catch and does so at his own 11. It's a hold nonetheless. With 18 seconds left, White, conferring with the veteran DeBerg, will be faced with a 1st and 10. And ball marked at about the 12 of Tampa.
Now, it's safe to say that Minnesota, the defensive backs for the Minnesota Vikings, will be 40 yards downfield. Any passes that are caught will be caught in front of them. They'll want to come up, make the play, if possible, keep that receiver or running back in bounds.
Dime package for the Vikings. Going up top, 3 receivers in that direction. Drop
Almost
as Vincent
intercepted.
Glenn had a hand on it but was juggling it, and that's a play you see every day practice in practice.
That's true, JB. It's called, they're called a Hail Mary pass. You practice against it. The idea is get the ball up there, let it bounce around. Who's to say? You've got 8 guys there. That's 16 hands. All you need is one of those 16 hands to be one of your guys, and maybe you'll come down with the ball. Not so that time.
Kind of a graphic illustration of what we've heard so often about football, which is chess on grass, wrestling at the line of scrimmage, and now we're seeing in the secondary basketball in the secondary. 2nd and 10 with 10 seconds remaining. And Noga was back at DeBerg before DeBerg even caught the ball.
Offside, 99 defense.
Even though he was offsides, what he did that was a smart veteran play was he grabbed DeBerg. In other words, he didn't let them have a free play. Had DeBerg eluded his grasp, he could have rode out, thrown the ball downfield, something could have happened, and they would have got the ball back anyway because the penalty was in progress.
A smart reaction to not a very good play. Caught, and the clock continues to wind out as Tampa has no timeouts remaining. So the road woes of the Tampa Bay Bucks continue. It is now at 15 as Denny Green and Sam White congratulate each other. So for George Stark, I'm James Brown saying so long from the Metrodome, where the final score is Minnesota 26, Tampa 20. Coming up next, the second half of CBS's doubleheader. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.